Chapter 141, One Hit. Soon, all the disciples who were searching for Yi Chen's figure in Haoshan of Niemen got a voice from Qi Yang and swarmed towards the southeast. In the cave, Yi Chen had already received the fairy fire, and after wiping out the general sweat, he took out the Julingmu. According to the introduction of the method of imprinting the magic, he needed to imprint the Juling in the body of Zizan. Soon, he dropped a drop of blood on Julingfu, and then dropped a second drop of blood on Zishuan's lower abdomen. Melt. With his whisper, Julingfu was affixed to Zizan's lower abdomen. Immediately, Julingfu and Zizan's body both glowed with aura, and that Julingfu also slowly integrated into Zizan's lower abdomen. This process was very slow and took half an hour to complete. Call. With a spit of stale air, Yi Chen waved his hand and took out the mysterious charm. Like Zan Lingfu, 2 drops of blood were incorporated into Zan Lingfu and Zizan's body respectively. After doing this, Yi Chen affixed Zan Lingfu to Zizan's body. Incorporating the Xuanling amulet, your upgrade is truly complete. Taking a deep breath, Yi Chen showed a gratifying smile. Such a long effort and such an expensive price will be rewarded. During this period, Yi Chen observed Zizan's body more than once. Indeed, after incorporating the precious material, Zizan's body is already stiff enough, and with Shanwo helping her to train her body, her physical body is much stronger than that of Feng Ying. After joining Julingfu, Zizan's body seemed to have a touch of anger, and her body was still dormant. It cost so much, you can't let me down. With a murmur, Yi Chen continued to incorporate the mysterious charm into Zizan's body. Yi Chen. Suddenly, outside of the cave, Xie Yun's call came, and his tone was a little hastily. Not good, I feel a few weak breaths coming to this side, and in all directions. Quote. Did they find us? Shang said tentatively. Bakeng is. Huo Teng's face was very unsightly. In the cave, Yi Chen's brows also frowned sharply. Needless to say, he also felt the breath appeared in all directions, and the speed was extremely fast, apparently coming from their side. Such a big battle, such a unified action, must have found our hiding place. Yi Chen gritted her teeth and yelled. Zishuanyu escalated to a critical juncture, but was found at this time. How long will it take you? Shang asked. 5 minutes, this is the limit. Yi Chen gave a minimum time. Nonsense, we can't stand it for a minute. Xie Yun cursed. Qi Yang and Yang Bin, 2 true disciples, and more than 100 inside disciples, came over a set of tricks, and we were beaten up. Quote. Damn, you can't stand it. Huo Teng came up with a temper, and struck out a pair of sledgehammers on the spot. As soon as Huo Teng's words fell, a silver mang came out of the air. Take a closer look, it is Qi Yang's Destiny Silver Pagoda. Its brilliance is still dazzling. Damn it, Xie Yun cursed, and his destiny instantly sacrificed. Lb. For the first time, Xie Yun's spirit sword collided with the pagoda, and was shot out on the spot. Even Xie Yun was shocked to vomit blood. I can't help it. A cold humming sounded, and Qi Yang arrived first. After him, shadows came from all directions, full of 70 to 80 people, each magnificent, no lack of true sun, and Kong Sao and Zhang Yang, who had been buried alive by Yi Chen, also climbed out of the grave. There is a kind of heads up. Huo Teng strode forward, roaring loudly. You also deserve it. Kong Sao drank violently, raised his foot and killed him. Before they were buried alive by Huo Teng, he was furious, and his shot was a big move. Huo Teng was not afraid. He moved forward with a sledgehammer, but he and Kong Sao were deadly. It was because of Kong Sao that he defeated in the outside competition. Now he encounters Kong Sao again. His blood is already boiling. To burn. Boom. Rumble. The 2 men fought together in an instant, and Huo Teng, who had not yet set foot in the real world, was suppressed. Xie Yun, destroyed you today. Zhang Yang, who was also the deadly opponent, rushed to Xie Yun. Dead fat man, see where you are going today. Yang Wei killed him and was in the battle with Bear too. 3 battles made Qi Yang ignore it directly. His eyes looked directly at the cave, as if he could see the hot sweating Yi Chen in the cave through the weeds. Yi Chen, when are you hiding? Can you wait for your good brother to be killed before you come out? Qi Yang sneered. I said, You've killed my Qi family, and you will die miserably. Quote. With that, Qi Yang pointed out with one finger and shot a finger into the cave. Seeing that Ziming shot in, Yi Chen turned his hands and took out the heavens. Lb. Qi Yang's finger was very strong, and a spark was rubbed on the heavy nature. Yi Chen was shocked and snorted back, but as he stepped back, there was Zizan, his other hand was still attached to Zizan. Because Zan Lingfu has not been fully integrated. It's almost fast, give me another minute. Yi Chen clenched his teeth and insisted that if he let go of his hand at this time, he would have given up all his achievements. Boom, boom. Outside the cave, the roar continued. Yi Chen didn't have to go to see that Xie Yun's figure was miserable. Hold it up, it's about to come. Yi Chen's eyes had bloodshot in his eyes. What was missing was time. Boom, boom, boom. 3 loud sounds rang out from outside. Xie Yun, Huo Tang, and Shang Er all lost, and their bodies hit the rock wall behind them. Their bodies were blurred. Boy, we did our best. The 3 of Xie Yun coughed up blood, and they were so far apart that they had reached their limit. Ha! Glancing at Xie Yun, who was fuzzy in flesh, Qi Yang's drama, Yi Chen, you see, this is your good brother, this is the end with you, isn't it heartache? However, no echo came from the cave. Seeing this, Qi Yang's eyes were cold, and he immediately drank. Kill me, regardless of life or death. Zongmin blame it, and my southern Xinjiang Qi family is standing. As soon as this word came out, more than 100 people moved, and it was Zuo Qiuming who was the first one to break into the cave. Snapped. Soon, loud applause came out of the cave, and then, Zuo Qiuming, who had just rushed into the cave, flew upside down, flying 7 or 8 feet before hitting the ground. Okay. Seeing that Zuo Qiuming had just slid in, he flew out, leaving the crowd full of people. So get mysterious. Qi Yang coldly hummed, took out the killing sword, and killed the whole himself. However, when he was about to enter the cave, he felt a dangerous breath. He could faintly hear the howling of a sword in the cave. Before he entered the cave, he was tempted by the aggressive sword. Frightened eyes lighted. Between the flashes of light, he shoved and then retreated. Ha! Suddenly, a sharp sword air flew out of the cave, followed by a second sword air, followed by a third one. In just a few breaths, dozens of sword air were shot out. Qi Yang's discoloration, his body suddenly turned around, and the sword in his hand swung sharply, condensing into a protective shield of aura. Pound, pound, pound. The crisp sound of the metal collision soon sounded, and the swords flying from the hole hit the protective cover of Qi Yang in sequence, wiping out the bright sparks, and even broke through the protective cover of Qi Yang. How could it be? Everyone's face suddenly changed. How strong is Yi Chen in the cave? With one slap, Zuo Qiuming, who was trained in Zhenyang realm, even the 8th Qiang defensive sword array of Hengyu Junju's disciples were attacked from the front, and everyone thought they were wrong. It's not Yi Chen. Qi Yang saw it most clearly. It wasn't Yi Chen who broke his defense, but another person. There is still a man hidden in the cave. Yang Bin also saw the clue, staring at the cave, thinking that someone other than Yi Chen in the cave, since he could break through the front cover of Qi Yang, must also be Hengyu as one of the 9 true stories, and the ranking must be above him and Qi Yang. Follow us for a night, and then change us. When everyone frowned, Yu's voice came out of the cave. Yi Chen walked out, and there was a peerless beauty beside him. Chapter 142, Scary Zizan. Well, when seeing Zizan, not only Qi Yang and Yang Bin, but also many inner disciples narrowed their eyes. All right, now they can be figured out who broke the defense cover of Qi Yang, not Yi Chen, but the beautiful puppet next to Yi Chen, more precisely the beautiful mysterious puppet next to Yi Chen. Why would he have a mysterious cricket? Recognizing that Zizan was a prefecture cricket, Qi Yang's complexion instantly gloomed. As one of the 9 true legends of Heng Yizong and the master of the Qi family in southern Xinjiang, how did he not know the horror of the mysterious mystery? The physical rigidity was outrageous, and more importantly, he could use the mystery of mystery. And dare not regret it. Come in quickly. Yi Chen had already pulled Xie Yun into the cave at the mouth of the cave, and then one person plugged 2 back to Xuanden. His grandfather, he almost hung up. Shang Er cursed. It's really hard-hearted. I thought it was just a lesson taught us. I never really wanted to kill us. Xie Yun looked at Qi Yang coldly. Mom, the background is hard, can it be lawless? Huo Teng's voice was getting colder. Just before, he really felt Qi Yang's murder. The four of them robbed things at most. Qi Yang, they are real. Where are you going to kill? Hurry up to recover the injury. I have just upgraded to a mysterious magpie. I don't know how much strength I have. I hope to block Qi Yang and Yang Bin. Yi Chen groaned. He had also thought about flying out of Haoshan with the help of fairy fire, but he knew that only one fire cloud could be carried by him. Moreover, there is more than just a true sun realm across Qiang. You must know that the real sun realm can also fly with the help of a magic weapon, and he is more willing to fight on the ground than to fight in the air. Come on. Yi Chen glanced at Zizan for a moment, thought, and issued an attack command. Immediately, the still-moving Zi Xuanyu killed and went out, just like a white light, and even the speed of Yi Chen, the master, glared at his eyes. This speed was much faster than Feng Ying. Seeing Zizan's killing, Qi Yang moved first and suffered a loss in front of a cricket, which was regarded as a shame by him. Soon, he sacrificed his own silver pagoda, which bloomed brightly, and Ling Tian pressed to Zizan. However, what surprised him was that Zizan was up against the sky and was not at all suppressed by the silver pagoda. Ignore the suppression of spirits. This time, it was not only Yang Bin and them, but Yi Chen and Xie Yun were also shocked. Zizan's ability was clearly beyond their expectations. When everyone was shocked, Zi Xuanyu had waved the jade arm, and the crystal jade hand was sturdily patted on the silver pagoda. Huang Dang. The silver pagoda was shot by Zizan on the spot and fell out of the air. Qi Yang, who is the master of the pagoda, was also backfired. He hummed back 3 steps before stopping. Everyone was startled again. It's impossible. Qi Yang roared, unable to accept this reality. This son-in-law is so strong. Yang Bin's face also became gloomy. He was not seen from Zan level, nor did he fight against Zan level, but he was as powerful as Zan. It was the first time he had met. Yi Chen, you have to make me a puppet like this for me. Seeing the fierceness of Zizan, Xie Yun looked at Yi Chen with eager eyes. Okay. Yi Chen opened his mouth, only feeling dry. He had speculated more than once on Zizan's strength after becoming Zan level, but still too underestimated Zizan, and lifted up the true destiny of a true disciple with one palm, which again exceeded his expectations. It can be seen from the blow just now that Zizan's advancement to the Zan level Kui Lei is obviously stronger than the general Zan level Kui Lei, at least, it is much stronger than Feng Ying Kui Lei. Boom. When the crowd was shocked, Qi Yang was already fighting with Zizan, but as a true disciple, he was falling down everywhere and was unable to lift his head by being beaten by Xuan Zizan. What are you doing? Let's go together. Qi Yang growled at the bottom. Only then did the inner disciples react, one after the other, running the Qi spiritual power, or the magical tool, or the mysterious mystery. All of them hit Zizan, the colorful attacks, and drowned Zizan in an instant. At this point, Yi Chen's heart mentioned his throat, not sure if Zizan could resist so many attacks. If this overwhelming big move turned into scrap iron, the loss would not be as simple as tens of thousands of spirit stones. But soon, Yi Chen's eyes widened again. I saw Zizan suspended in the air, his hands quickly moved the fingerprints, and then centered on her. A huge vortex was formed, and those attacks were crushed by the vortex. Niubian. Seeing this scene, Shang shouted excitedly. Refining, Yi Chen, you must make me such a puppet. Xie Yun and Huo Teng, holding Yi Chen in one hand, jumped up in excitement. I will save money when I go back. This horrible lawlessness is heavenless. Quote. Is this a mysterious cricket? Outside the cave, the shocked voice was one by one, and his eyes were full of horror. Her door is the 2 charms in her body. Yang Bin, who was not far away from the battle, opened his mouth. He seemed to know Zan Jiyu and the flaw in Zan Jiyu. Your grandpa. Yi Chen stared at Yang Bin fiercely. From the moment Yang Bin appeared here, he knew that Qi Yang they could find their hiding place so accurately. They must be related to Yang Bin. Yi Chen secretly remembered this feud. Obviously, Qi Yang and they also saw the flaws in Zizan, and each of the spirit swords sang, and they wanted to break the magic charm in Zizan's body with one sword. Zishuan, zoom in. Yi Chen tightened his eyes, and hurriedly gave Zizan such an order, otherwise Qi-Yong would break the two charms in her body, which was the most nonsense. Sure enough, at the moment Yi Chen's words fell, Zizan, who was hanging in the air, quickly moved his fingerprints. Soon, with her body as the center, the airflow was rapid, and then the howling of the sword was rapidly condensed into the air with the speed visible to the naked eye. Many people make their scalp tingling. Luiying foil. At the scene, more than one person said such a word, as if he knew what mystery Zizan had performed. This is a big attack. Xie Yun snorted excitedly, as if she knew what mystery was performed by Zizan, and she also knew the horror of this mystery. As for Yi Chen, Zheng Zan looked up at the air at this time. Zizan was suspended there. Her white clothes fluttered, she was bathed in the starlight moonlight, she was immaculate, and her body was full of gorgeous sword spirit, just like Judian Zan knew. In the spotlight, Zizan raised her jade arm slightly, then waved sharply, pointing away. Ha, ha, suddenly, countless swords flew from the air. Hide away. Qi-Yong drank violently, the first quickly backed away. However, although Qi-Yong retreated quickly, he was still shrouded in the heavenly sword air, and even he was shrouded in it, let alone other inner disciples. Seeing the sword rain falling in the sky, the inner disciples knew that they could not hide, and then they defended, or waved the spirit sword, or condensed the protective cover, otherwise the sword rain hole would be worn into a sieve the next moment. Pound, pound, pound. Outside the cave, the sound of a metal collision soon sounded. The sky was full of swordsmanship like sword rain. This was a big attack. The disciples below fell into pieces, and Yongbin appeared on the scene. Puff, puff, puff. This is a huge scene. Zizan's sword is extremely powerful. Many of her disciples' shields were broken, leaving deep blood on them. Here are only Qi-Yong and Zuo Qiuming. Yangjing was not injured. Xiao Xiao Jian Ju. Qi-Yong cut off the last sword, and then a sword penetrated into the sky. This sword was very powerful and had the power to penetrate rocks. I saw Zizan volleying down, Qian Ying flying, like a white light, very fast, dodging Qi-Yong Fei Xiao's sword, and then volleyed a print on the palm. Qi-Yong was forced to fly on the spot go out. Chapter 143, Counterattack. Let's do it together. Zuo Qiuming and their group of True Sun, from all directions in the future, is a big move to fame. However, Zizan was too fast and did not give them a chance. He fanned Zuo Qiuming out for a second time with one palm, and turned his hand to poke out a blood hole in Kong Sao's body. Remember that the big Stellaman turned Zhang Yangshu over. Unlawless, it's so unlawful. Yi Chen of the cave, their faces have become extremely wonderful. Mysterious Magpie is equivalent to the monk's true realm, but Zizan, who was hit by Qi-Yong, couldn't afford to raise their heads. The situation of the original crisis has now become a sublime drama. Yongbin, when do you want to see it? Qi-Yong was unable to fight Zizan. Qi-Yong roared at Yongbin, who was still watching the battle. Help you, 100,000 spirits. Yongbin laughed miserably. He really would pick the time, specializing in robbery while taking advantage of the fire, and opened his mouth to be 100,000 spirit stones, blocking Qi-Yong almost spraying blood. In fact, Qi-Yong really spurted blood, not only by Zizan, but also by Yongbin. Regarding Yongbin's behavior today, he really hated his teeth. He still looked down on his brother's style too much, and made him regret asking Yongbin to come over to help him. He didn't do anything, but he did it all in the same way. However, Qi-Yong knew how much it cost to block Yi Chen in this backstory. Yi Chen had such a terrible puppet next to him. He missed today and wanted to pack up Yi Chen. After thinking about it, Qi-Yong still gritted his teeth and threw Yongbin a storage bag. 100,000 spirit stones, I can afford it. It's good to say. Yongbin waved his hand to close the storage bag, then stepped on the flying sword to kill the sky, and spit out a weird magic charm. The golden charm of the magic rune flew into the sky, and became huge. It was full of dense runes, overflowing with Jinwei, and covered Zizan inside, and a rune ran down with it, and it had the ability to restrain people. Not good. Yi Chen at the entrance narrowed his eyes and saw the strangeness of Yongbin's amulet. In this way, the amulet in Zizan's body might be destroyed. Bear 2, Arrow of Chasing Wind. Yi Chen held out his palm. Shang understood, turned his hand to take out the arrow and bow, and handed it to Yi Chen. Picking up the wind-stretching bow, Yi Chen was about to follow the wind-stretching arrow on the arrow string, and then his whole body was instilled in the wind-stretching arrow. The bow, like a full moon, aimed at Yang Bin in the air and loosened suddenly out of hand. Ha! The wind-fighting arrow shot instantly, covered with light, haunting thunder and lightning, and forced Yang Bin to shoot. I can't help it, Yang Bin sneered, and just as the windward arrow was about to hit, he held the windward arrow with his hands, and then the spiritual power rolled and crushed the windward arrow. Mo Ji, there is. Yi Chen gave a cold voice. Dan Hai was rolling out in anger, constantly bowing like a full moon, one after the other, shooting arrows into the void, and the target was always Yang Bin. He can see that although Yang Bin is dedicated to robbery while on fire, he has real skill and can indeed threaten Zizan. It was precisely this point that Yi Chen attacked him furiously. He did not intend to hurt Yang Bin with the arrow of the wind, but wanted to trouble Yang Bin in this way and share the pressure on Zizan. Facts have shown that his decision was still correct. Because of Yi Chen's attack, Yang Bin had to be distracted against Yi Chen below, which also gave Zizan a chance to stand up. Zixuan, beat me to this kid. Yi Chen ordered again, let Zizan's attack take care of Yang Bin. After receiving the order, Zizan retreated from Shiyang with one palm, then turned abruptly, and a big stone tablet player shook Yang Bin back with a sullen sound. He hadn't stabilized his body yet, and Zizan hit him like a white light. Snapped. The applause was loud and clear. Zizan slapped Yang Bin's face with a slap, and it was so powerful that Yang Bin's entire face was distorted and several teeth flew out. I don't know why. When Yang Bin was injured, Qi Yang was so happy that he deserved to rob you. What? Yang Bin roared. The whole face was hot, and the seventh disciple of Dengung Hengyu Junjuan was slapped by a puppet in public. He had always been above him. Immediately, his spirit surged toward Zizan like a fierce beast. However, he ran into Zizan's secret technique, which was a rolling tide, and drowned him on the spot. Seeing this, Yi Chen at the entrance of the cave moved first, jumped out of the cave, waved his hand, go. Behind him, Xie Yun hurriedly followed. Want to leave? Behind him, Zuo Qiuming caught up first. I never thought that Yi Chen, who had just taken 2 steps, turned around suddenly, and a roaring dragon roared heartily. What? Zuo Chu obviously did not expect that Yi Chen would give him such a come out. In the spot move, his brain buzzed, his soul was wounded, and his pain was extremely painful. His eyes were blackened and hesitated. We said you would believe it, are you a pig's brain? Yi Chen jumped and killed an ape in front of Zuo Qiuming, twitched his iron whip, and covered his face with 3 heads. What? Zuo Qiuming screamed again, Qichao bleeding, his head buzzing, and his head was about to explode. Before he could stabilize his figure, Yi Chen's iron whip came again, and he was smashed by a whip. Yi Chen's eyes were fast, and he took away Zuo Qiuming's storage bag, and then went straight to the other inner disciples. Xie Yun behind them also beat chicken blood one by one. They really didn't want to leave, because they didn't know Zizan's terror before, so they just wanted to leave. But now it's different. Zizan's sturdiness is far beyond their expectations. There is completely that strength to single out Qi Yang and Yang Bin. Without Qi Yang and Yang Bin, and they have iron whip in hand, the remaining soldiers are left. They can deal with defeat. What? The screams never ceased. Yi Chen rushed to the front with an iron whip dedicated to hitting Yuenshin. The inner disciples who had been under the repair of Zhenyiang had been injured before, and he was beaten down by a sturdy one. Grab it! They rob it! Xie Yun and Shang followed behind Yi Chen, yelling unceasingly. Wherever they went, the storage bags of the disciples who had been knocked out fell on in their hands. Yi Chen, Kong Sao and Zhang Yang joined forces to kill Yi Chen, each using his own destiny. Stop Kong Sao's goods, Yi Chen said to Xie Yun and Huo Tang, and then went straight to Zhang Yang with an iron whip. Okay. Xie Yun also sacrificed a magic weapon to fight against Kong Sao, and even helped Huo Tang to help him. Kong Sao was blocked immediately. On the other side, Yi Chen and Zhang Yang fought. Suppress me. Zhang Yang Yu Tian's destiny Ling Ling suppressed. Do you think you are Qi Yang? Yi Chen sneered, threw his iron whip strong and strode forward, and smashed it onto Zhang Yang's destiny. What? Because the soul is connected, Zhang Yang was shaken by the shock and fell into a vertigo state. I can't beat Qi Yang, I can't do you. Yi Chen flaunted. A tiger slammed in front of Zhang Yang and thumped the iron whip. Let's die. On the slanting side, someone rushed out and took a closer look. It was Yang Wei who stabbed Chong Hong into the back of his head with a sword. Get off your mother. Shang also abruptly killed him. Yang Wei sneaked into Yi Chen. He sneaked into Yang Wei. The mace in his hand became thicker than the tree instantly, and sturdily hit Yang Wei. Yang Wei was recruited in the middle of the game and flew out on the spot, and the board was affixed to the rock wall not far away. What? Here, Yi Chen's iron whip had fallen, and Zhang Yang's head that had been smashed had broken blood, and his entire face was completely blacked out, and he slumped back. Yi Chen, who was caught up, broke his head and covered his face with a mess. It's not enough to finish counting. At this point, Zhang Yang has been snoozed for the third time by Yi Chen. Chapter 144, Forced to be Raped by X. After solving Zhang Yang, Yi Chen turned to kill Xie Yun, Huo Tang, and Kong Cao. They said nothing, and came forward with a whip, followed by shaking the mountain fist and Ben Lei, and finally the overbearing Kong Long. Kong Cao, who had fallen in the wind, flew out on the spot. Xie Yun, the iron whip is borrowed from you to play. Yi Chen simply threw the iron whip to Xie Yun, but he killed Kong Cao like a swift wind. When Kong Cao landed, he grasped it fiercely. Kong Cao's leg. Let you hit my brother. The sturdy Yi Chen slammed Kong Cao whole, then fell to the ground fiercely. Boom! With a roar, the earth was knocked out of a human figure by Kong Cao's body. Puff! Kong Cao spurted blood on the spot. Rao was a real son, and it was hard for Yi Chen to fall like this, and the entire internal organs were moved. Let you hit my brother. Yi Chen raised Kong Cao again, and with the roar, he was smashed into a deep pit above the ground again, and Kong Cao's entire body was knocked down. Continue. Yi Chen did not drop Kong Cao anymore, but grabbed Kong Cao's body and rushed into the crowd, using Kong Cao's body as a weapon, but all the inner disciples who flew over were flung by him on the spot. This product is hanging up. Not far away, Shang could not help tearing his lips when he saw such a sturdy Yi Chen. What? On the other side, Xie Yun held the iron whip to show his mighty power, plus the realm of the sun, and since Kong Cao was beaten down, except for Qi Yang and Yang Bin who fought against Zizan, the remaining inner disciples are basically human environment, he has swept the whole way. The scene is such a wayward picture. Yi Chen, Xie Yun, Huo Tang, and Shang these four beasts, are all in a crushing trend. The ground is full of inner disciples, they have not died, but they have been snoring in the past. Soon, Yi Chen and they ended the battle first. What's this called? This is called forced rape. X was defeated by X, and a large number of people killed him. What I thought was a victory was because of the appearance of a concubine, lying one after another. They are the original people who were robbed and buried alive by Yi Chen in the barren forest. Now they are planted here collectively for the second time, making evil. Cool. Shang hugged a pile of storage bags without a face or skin. Although he was also swollen and blushed, he smiled and smiled. This harvest is not small. On the other side, Xie Yun came over with a dozen storage bags. It didn't hurt in any way. Hotten grinned, holding a pile of storage bags. Boom. Bang. But the war is not over. The four were together, looking at the battle circle of Zizan and Qi Yang and Yang Bin. The three were fighting fiercely. Qi Yang and Yang Bin were embarrassed and had bloodstains on their bodies. Although Zizan's body was hard, her body was still pitted by the two. Or else, robbed these two goods. Yi Chen said, and looked at Xie Yun beside them. This can be. Xie Yun rubbed his hands. Grab them. Shang looked at Yang Bin and Qi Yang with bright eyes, as if staring at two treasures. These two goods are rich in oil. Huo Tang also eagerly tried. I just don't know if my uncle can hold it up. Yi Chen looked intently not far away. Although Zizan had the upper hand, however, both Qiang and Yongbin were fierce characters, and it was difficult to get them in a while. Moreover, Qiyang and Yongbin are not Zhang Yang and Kong Cao's merchandise. Although they cannot beat Zizan, if they escape, I am afraid that even if they are Zizan, they will never stop. You have to think of a way. Yi Chen touched his chin, his eyes and bones twitched. In the end, Yi Chen looked at Xie Yun and said, "Is there a Tianling curse?" Yes, but our Tianling mantras are all low level. People like Jiang and Yongbin are basically useless. Xie Yun spread his hands. One piece of two does not work, but if there are more, it is difficult to say. Yi Chen blinked at the three of them. It is okay to seal one of them. After hearing the words, the three eyes lighted up and brushed each of their storage bags. Xie Yun took out 3 celestial spells, 1 more of Woteng, 4, but the little fat man Shang was out of leaves. Chen's prediction was that he took out 8 things. Yi Chen also patted the storage bag and took out 3 heavenly mantras. Adding my 3 and 18 heavenly mantras, sealing one of them for 20 seconds is no problem. Immediately, the 4 squatted on the ground again, muttering above their heads. In the end, the 4 stood up in unison, and then looked at the war not far away, and finally fell on Yongbin's body. Obviously, they were going to be sealed with 18 heavenly spells. Yongbin. Just you. Yi Chen sneered. Boom. Rumble. The battle is still hot. Although Zizan is a tadpole, she is already a black tadpole. She has a hard body and has the ability to cast mysterious mysteries. She doesn't care about consumption. Compared to her, Yongbin and Qiyang are much more embarrassed. Although both are true disciples of the 9 greats, but after a long fight, they will be consumed naturally. Over time, they are beaten by Zizan and unable to stand up. Zixuan, call me Yongbin's boy. Yi Chen meditated in his heart, and secretly ordered Zizan. Zizan was ordered, and the palm that was originally directed at Qiyang turned to Yongbin. Yongbin caught off guard and was passively defensive. However, Zizan still flew out with a single palm, and the direction of the fly was Yi Chen and them over here. Start working. Xie Yun was the first to go out, and moved his destiny, and cut out a sword rainbow. I can't help it. Yongbin turned over to stop his body, and lifted Xie Yun's spirit sword with one palm. Yeah, a loud yelling sounded, and Shang trembled with a mace to kill. LB. Yongbin waved and spit out Shang Erjun with a single palm and backed up. And me. Huo Tang also arrived. A pair of sledgehammers had already raised their heads, but why the strength gap was too great, or Yongbin shocked back. Roar. The roar of the beast sounded, and Yi Chen jumped to death. Look for death. Yongbin snorted, pointing out. Puff. Yi Chen didn't evade. She stabbed Yongbin with a finger, and her body was poked out of a blood hole. As soon as she hit the ground, she was a tiger, and she bullied herself in front of Yongbin. Then she was domineering, fighting. Roar, roar. He looks like a beast going down the mountain, and the way out of the gloves is even weird, sometimes like a tiger, sometimes a fierce ape, sometimes a lion, sometimes like a wolf, grabbing, patting, tearing, using hands, feet, knees, shoulders, every joint on his body. The parts have become fierce weapons. Although the strength absolutely suppressed Yi Chen's sudden and strange close-to-hand fight still left Yongbin slightly busy. Roll. He slammed Yi Chen in one hand, and Yongbin overturned Yi Chen in one hand. A group of ants. Overturning Yi Chen, Yongbin sullenly cast a face, and immediately came to kill the sword. It was just that he had just taken 2 steps, and his look suddenly changed, because the overflowing spiritual power was blocked. How is this possible? Yongbin looked at his body with an unbelievable face, and even clung to the entire 18 Tianling mantras. He didn't even know when those Tianling mantras were affixed to him. Although these are low-level celestial curses, sometimes the quantity will also cause qualitative change. 18 low-level celestial curses can seal his spiritual power for 20 seconds. For a moment, Yongbin panicked, as if aware of what would happen next. We have no grievances in the past and you have no revenge in the past, this is what you asked for. Yi Chen had already climbed up and rushed to him with an iron whip. Chapter 145, Head Share. In the other 3 directions, Xie Yun also picked up the smashing guy, and surrounded him with a smirk. The four cooperated fairly well. Xie Yun, Shang and Huo Tang attacked Yi Chen. The 18 heavenly mantras were posted on Yongbin by Yi Chen. Four brothers and sisters, have something to say. Yongbin turned pale and kept back. He was really scared. Although the spiritual power was blocked for only 20 seconds, these 20 seconds were enough for Yi Chen and the four of them to do a lot of things, such as snoring him in the past and robbing him all baby. Yongbin didn't dare to think about it, and never expected that it would be planted in the hands of Yi Chen's four younger brothers. He really regretted that he should not participate in it. The benefits from Qiong's robberies will not only be taken away, but even the entire net worth will be taken in. Don't talk, I don't want to listen. Yi Chen has rushed over. Seeing Yi Chen rush forward, Yongbin stepped back and ran away. Where to go? Yi Chen was extremely fast, catching up with Yongbin in 3 or 2 steps, kicking him out with one kick, and then splitting his head and covering his face was a whip. What? Yongbin screamed suddenly. Even if he had no spiritual protection, even if he was in the real world, he would not have the power to fight back in front of Yi Chen. Yeah, in the other 3 directions, Huo Tang, Xie Yun and Shang also screamed to kill each other. They each moved the guy in their hands, Yongbin who had just got up, and was smashed back on the spot. When you come out, you always have to pay back. Yi Chen was the toughest. He continued to wave the iron whip, and he didn't dare to delay, because there were only 20 seconds. Yongbin fell down, otherwise all efforts were wasted. What? Yongbin's screams kept ringing and his head was bleeding. On the other side, Qi Yong saw this, and the secret road was not good, and he hurried to kill. If Yongbin was knocked down, he could not do it by himself. Although he hated Yongbin, he needed Yongbin at this time. However, as soon as he took 2 steps, Zizan's ghostly figure stood in front of him. Everything was within Yi Chen's plan. How could Qi Yong be given the chance to save Yongbin? Damn! Qi Yong gritted his teeth and wanted to rush over to save Yongbin, but Nai Zishuan's strength was too overbearing. Rao was his Hengyu true disciple who could not break through his defense. What? With Yongbin's last scream, he was completely dozed off. In order to be foolproof, Yongbin consciously gave him 2 whip after being snored. Looking at Qi Yong again, seeing that the situation has gone, he did not dare to fall in love with the battle anymore. God knew if Yi Chen had made such a show for them. If so, his end would be even more miserable by Yongbin. He regretted that with Zizan, Qi Yong didn't even think about it, turned and ran, and the speed was staggering. Qi Yong drove away. Yi Chen didn't let Zizan go after him. With Qi Yang's strength, she wanted to escape. Zizan couldn't stop them, and they didn't have the Tianling curse anymore. They could only let Qi Yong leave. After the inner gate, the mountain fell into silence again. At this moment, the 4 were squatting on the ground, staring at a lot of treasures in front of their eyes, fighting a victory, and naturally wanting to divide the loot. I have to say that as a true disciple Yongbin, there are really a lot of treasures in the storage bag. Hundreds of thousands of spirit stones, don't say, the spirit grass, the spiritual fluid, and the magic charms. The 4 people who watched them swallowed. What disappointed the 4 was that Yongbin did not have any mystery in his storage bag. A disciple of his level, even if he has a mystery, is imprinted in his mind and will not give people a chance to take it away. Of a quarter of a person, don't take more. Yi Chen said, very consciously collected nearly 100,000 spirit stones into the storage bag. Xie Yun did not pull them. The speed of collecting money is also leveraged. I want this compass. Separated the spirit stone. Xie Yun's eyes were swift and his hands were fast, and he had slipped the Big Dipper into his arms. This squinting sight was vicious, as if he knew the Big Dipper, and seemed to know the purpose of the chart. I want this mountain axe. Huo Tang also liked the same good weapon. He has always been warlike. His favorite weapon is like his sledgehammer and the mountain axe at this time. That spirit bead belongs to me. Shang was not too slow. Ma Lu reached out and shoved a spirit bead with aura of light into his crotch. Needless to say, it was a good treasure. Here, Yi Chen's dark face glanced at the 3. This **** is not stupid. He picked up all the good babies. The basic things left to him are some ordinary things, which made him understand the truth, and to share the asterisk with this shit, just one word, fast. You can choose whatever you want. Seeing Yi Chen's face dark, the three simply looked at the starry sky beyond the margins. You guys, Yi Chen cursed, but still picked among the remaining piles. Indeed, as he thought, the rest of the things, there is nothing special eye-catching good baby. Helpless, Yi Chen had to pick up a spirit sword that could barely enter his eyes. Compared to ordinary babies, this spirit sword was still a good quality, but compared with Xie Yun's, it was still worse. A little star. But just as he was about to put the spirit sword into the storage bag, the fairy fire inside him trembled a little. There is baby. Yi Chen's eyes brightened. Holding the sword in his hand, he looked eagerly at the pile of things in front of him, and according to the guidance of Shanwo, he finally set his sights on a piece of iron that was not slippery. This piece of iron is only the size of an adult nail, with rusty mottled and ancient atmosphere, which is not surprising, but Shanwo refers to it. I want this spirit sword. Yi Chen coughed, and still put the spirit sword in the storage bag, and then stowed the piece of iron in hand, because the spirit sword he received was not high grade. And Xie Yun they all took good babies, Yi Chenduo's one, the three did not say anything. The next division of filth was more harmonious. Yang Bin's treasure was left over by the four of them. I wonder if Yang Bin would vomit blood on the spot after waking up. Gone. After finishing the loot, the four walked side by side toward the mountain. Call me next time I have this good thing. Also next time, I tell you, this time you go back, you will be honest in the mountains you were practicing. Don't go down the mountain. It's okay. The grandchildren of the turtles are waiting for the rabbits under the mountain. At this moment, the east had a touch of red glow. On the jade peak, Chu Linger stretched out of the room with a lazy waist, greedily sucking the aura between heaven and earth. Wow, it's still fresh outside. Chu Linger's face was pleasant. Master, Chuer is back. As soon as Chu Linger's voice fell, Yi Chen's voice sounded. Chapter 146. Chu's Honor, Chu Linger. Master, the child is back. Before the words fell, Yi Chen climbed to the summit. In his eyes, he saw Chu Linger who was inhaling the heaven and earth. Looking at Chu Linger again, when I saw Yi Chen, she was suddenly there. Master, I'm back, miss me. Here, Yi Chen didn't notice the abnormality of Chu Linger, rubbed her hands stupidly, and came over with a smirk smile. It's really breaking the iron shoes and looking for nothing. Chu Linger, who reacted, suddenly covered his face with frost, suddenly got up, and stepped in front of Yi Chen. Before he could react, a jade hand tightened. Holding Chen Yi's neck, he lifted Yi Chen shengsheng. Sudden changes caused Yi Chen to be caught off guard. He was lifted high, his forehead was blue and raised, and even his whole body was imprisoned. The entire lamb was to be slaughtered. Master, Master, what are you doing? Yi Chen's limbs were swinging, making it difficult to speak. Good thing you did, Chu Linger said coldly, and the hand holding Yi Chen also strengthened. What am I doing? Yi Chen's eyeballs were swollen and raised, and he clearly saw the murderous power in Chu Linger's beautiful eyes. The cold murderous energy made his whole body cool from head to toe. She wants to kill me. What the asterisk is going on? I haven't seen it for a day. Why my master is going to kill him? Linger, stop. Just as Chu Linger's jade hand exerted force, Chu Shuener appeared. I rely. Seeing Chu Shuener's appearance, Yi Chen threatened on the spot. This, Yunfeng has a person who looks exactly like Chu Shuener. Twin sisters. For a moment, Yi Chen's brain opened wide. He thought of the stone gate that Chu Shuener had taken him to, and there was a retreat in that person, and it was needless to say that this person should be the crazy woman who was now holding his neck. He thought of Chu Linger in the huge Kawaguchi of Wanbao Pavilion, not to mention the crazy woman in front of him. He also thought about the monster forest, and Chun Xiaomei, a beauty senior, that person, needless to say. Just this crazy woman in front of you, or you won't kill someone as soon as you meet. The corners of Yi Chen's mouth twitched, and his complexion instantly became extremely wonderful. He thought about it a lot, but the only thing he didn't expect was Chu Shuener, the master of Jade Girl Fengfeng, even he had a twin sister, and as the only apprentice of Chu Xuaner, he didn't know. Ash, Yi Chen had an urge to hang himself. If he had known that crazy woman that night was the twin sister of Chu Xuaner, would he stay at Heng Yizong? Will he still be a stupid apprentice to Chu Xuaner? Don't let go, he's my apprentice. When Yi Chen's thoughts flew, Chu Xuaner had already stepped in, stopped Chu Ling and put down Yi Chen. He's your apprentice. Chu Linger froze, apparently not knowing that the one who had taken her chastity that night was his sister's apprentice. He is Yi Chen, I said. Chu's honor glanced at Chu Linger. Sister, I don't care who he is, I must kill him today. Chu Linger's cheeks were hot and flushed, I wonder if it was angry or ashamed. He tricked you. Chu Linger was about to say, but the words came to his lips as if they had been stuck. What can she say? Say this boy got your sister. How slutty she was that night. Obviously, this statement is hard to tell. She has kept her body like a jade for more than 100 years. The incarnation of the Heng Yizong generation of jade girls was taken away by chastity by a little monk. For a time, Chu Linger's cheeks turned completely red. There must be a reason for the killing, but this reason could not be said. What? Chu Linger stomped his feet, became angered, and played with Lai Pai. I don't care, I will kill him. What do you mean? There must be a reason for killing. Chu Xuaner was completely confused by Chu Linger. Then, Chu Xuaner looked at Yi Chen, who was still lying on the ground and coughed fiercely, and asked, Boy, have you done something wrong? On hearing that, Yi Chen touched the tip of his nose and coughed, first glanced at Chu's honor, and then guiltily glanced at his Chu Linger, who was staring at him. He knew that there was something he couldn't hide. There is a saying that frankness and leniency, resistance to strictness. It's all here. Yi Chen had to bite her head and just stood up. I'm with her. Yi Chen didn't finish a word. She was rushed by Chu Linger, covering her mouth with her hands. Sparks flashed in Chu Linger's beautiful eyes, and clearly wrote a few words. You dare to say, now it will die about you. All right. Being so intimidated by Chu Linger, Yi Chen simply kept silent. The two of them made Chu's honor aside, and the fool could see that her sister and his apprentice were in a situation. Although she didn't know what it was, she determined that her sister and her apprentice had met beforehand. Boy, you just said you talked to her. Chu Xuaner glanced at Chu Linger and looked at Yi Chen with a smile. Kiki. Yi Chen coughed, and said rudely, I saw her as I did at the first sight. Yes, right at the first sight, the same at the first sight, huh. Yi Chen didn't tell the secret of the night, let Chu Linger breathe a sigh of relief, smiled, and said he did not forget to pat Yi Chen's shoulder, pretending to laugh and say, Little guy, I just played with you just now, didn't scare you. Haven't scared you yet, Yi Chen scolded, I almost scared you. Oh, Chu Xuaner embraced her arms in front of her chest, and looked at her sister and her baby apprentice with interest. The two were obviously in trouble. Such a poor cover-up could escape my eyes. Okay, eat. Chu Linger reluctantly had to leave, but after taking 2 steps, feeling uneasy, he returned and stood in the same place as a javelin-like leaf. Chen also dragged away. Drag away well, drag you and me down. Interesting. Looking at the back of the 2 men leaving, Chu's honor showed a charming smile. 3 people sat around the dining table. Yi Chen has never stopped since sitting down. He always feels that there are nails on the stone bench, and he doesn't say a word. Sometimes a smile appears, but this smile is really uglier than crying. Come here, little guy, eat more. On the one hand, Chu Linger was just like nothing, and she was surprisingly enthusiastic, constantly putting vegetables in Yi Chen's bowl, even if it was a large bowl full. Still piled up layer by layer. Seeing Chu Linger's enthusiasm, Yi Chen's heart fluttered and throbbed. This move seemed to be saying, eat quickly, eat more, eat full, eat your aunt and grandmother to take you on the road. All of this was caught in the eyes by Chu Xuaner aside. She still said nothing, but secretly told Chu Linger, I don't care what the grievances you had before, but please don't hurt him. Sister, look at what you said, I'm that kind of person. Chu Linger blinked his eyes, revealing the playfulness of a girl, but his heart was already planned, and when Chu Xuaner wrinkled, he strangling Yi Chen. Big deal. Chu Xuaner came back, she just admits that the mistake is not good. He is also one of the candidates. Chu Shuner whispered, making Chu Linger frown. After hearing that, Chu Linger frowned, first glanced at Yi Chen who looked down at Lammy and then looked at Chu Shuner with a doubtful face, preaching, "Sister, so many talented disciples, why?" He was chosen, quote, "because he created too many impossible," Chu Shuner said, not forgetting to look at Yi Chen. "Does he know? I don't know how to tell him that he is still in a condensed state. I don't want him to have too much burden. If he is really selected, I don't know if he should be happy or sad for him." At this time, Chu Linger was silent. The abacus was not only seen, but also learned a secret, and this secret had to let her dispel Yi Chen's thoughts. Compared with Heng Yu's safety, she must stay Yi Chen. A life. Chapter 147, Qiuyue. I don't know what kind of atmosphere a meal is over. After eating, Yi Chen stood up, wiped the oil from his mouth, and laughed, "Well, master, I'll go down the mountain." Yi Chen casually drew a reason, but in fact took the opportunity to slip away, "Otherwise left here, there is a crazy woman staring, it may be destroyed at any time, Chu's honor cannot always stay by his side every day." So, the moment he knew Chu Linger's identity, he thought of leaving Heng Yizong. "Come down the mountain." Chu Shuner lowered the bowl and chopsticks and looked at Yi Chen with a smile, "You have a lot of business. Bear little fat guy, find me a drink. You like drinking very much." Chu Shuner's expression still hangs on his cheek. Yi Chen looks unnatural. Whenever she shows such an expression, he has a feeling of being beaten. "All right, okay." Yi Chen touched the tip of his nose. "Wine. There are so many women on Yufeng. Drink them casually. If you go down the mountain, just forget it." Chu Shuner said, waving his jade arm immediately. Yi Chen still wanted to speak, but found that he had been wrapped in his body by an invisible force, and then the whole person was rolled up, and then all he could feel was the wind in his ears. Thump. Appeared again. Yi Chen found that he was already in the small bamboo forest. Chu Shuner was thrown over him so far away. Immediately, there was something falling down from the sky. A closer look was exactly the dust of fine wine, which landed firmly on the ground, and piled up so high on the hill that Yi Chen looked at it in a stun. "Drink." Then Chu Shuner laughed and groaned. "Nima. I still have a mood to drink." Yi Chen rushed out of the small bamboo forest directly, and wanted to sneak out, but it was the pain of the discovery that the small bamboo forest was sealed, and the entire small bamboo forest was covered by the enchantment. He couldn't go out at all. This is not fun at all." The corner of his mouth twitched and looked at the enchantment in front of him. Yi Chen felt only pain all over his body. "Honestly, stay in Shaojulan for me and take you to practice tomorrow. Don't even think about sneaking out during that time, otherwise you will know." At this time, Chu Shuner's laughter floated into Shaojulan again. Bye. Night, quietly, in the small bamboo house, Yi Chen didn't practice and didn't sleep. At this moment, he was buried in the ground to plan a pit. Why plan? Needless to say, I want to dig through a tunnel from the ground and run out. Suddenly, the door opened, and a scent of wind came in. A figure had stood behind Yi Chen, shining in the moonlight. She was immaculate, just like an ordinary fairy. "Come." Needless to say, it is Chu Linger. "What are you doing?" As soon as she walked in, Chu Linger saw Yi Chen dig a pit on the ground, and suddenly she was misted, thinking that Yi Chen was hitting a mouse hole. Seeing Chu Linger, Yi Chen subconsciously hid in the pit and smiled. I didn't do anything. You come out for me." Chu Linger whistled sternly, immediately reached out, and took Yi Chen out of the pit with one hand. Never thought that Yi Chen had just landed, he retreated to the edge of the wall, and watching Chu Linger was like a rat seeing a cat. If this little bamboo forest had no enchantment, he ran out on the spot. That night was a pure misunderstanding, a pure misunderstanding. Yi Chen looked at Chu Linger with a smile on his face. Speaking of that night, Chu Linger's cheeks suddenly turned half red, not to mention it. Once said, the picture of ecstasy that night would inevitably linger in her mind, and she couldn't catch it. She clearly remembered that her name was really lascivious. Moreover, whenever she stood in front of Yi Chen, she had a feeling that she was not wearing anything. Her whole body was seen and she was wearing no clothes. It was really no different. Not only shy or angry, let Chu Linger reach out and hold Yi Chen's neck again. Boy, I warn you, don't tell me about that night, you'd better forget about that night. Chu Linger's beating spark, like a tigress little tigress, that only you know what I know. If a third person knows, watch out for me strangling you. Quote. Yi Chen was wrapped around his neck, unable to speak, but nodded constantly. He also heard that Chu Linger ran over in the middle of the night not to kill him, but to keep him secret. In this way, Yi Chen breathed a sigh of relief in his heart. Although Chu Linger didn't know whether the truth was true or not, but did he have a choice? At least for now, he is still alive. Okay, here. Chu Linger glanced outside, his face suddenly panicked. He hurriedly dropped Yi Chen, and then hurriedly jumped into bed, then jumped off the bed again, as if looking for a place to hide. So anxious underneath, he wandered around in the pit dug by Yi Chen. Yi Chen was shocked, and Chu Linger was so strange that he was completely surrounded. In the end, Chu Linger jumped onto the table, and then gave Yi Chen a stern glance. Don't tell my sister that I've been. Without waiting for Yi Chen to speak, Chu Linger raised his eyes, and then his body quickly shrank, turning into a stone lamp on the table. Yi Chen was stunned. Soon, the door opened, and Chu's honor arrived in the wind. Yi Chen was dumb, so I figured out what Chu Linger's previous actions were for. This is to hide from Chu Xuaner. Yo, what about digging? Chu's honor came in and saw the big pit that Yi Chen had just planed a while ago. Then he found a bamboo chair and sat down, looking at Yi Chen with a smile. Little guy, what do you mean, you want to learn to punch holes in mice? Quote. Say it blindly. How do I cultivate earthworms? Do you need to dig a pit? Yi Chengen laughed and hurriedly shifted the topic. Master, I don't know what's wrong with you running me in the middle of the night. Here, Chu Xuaner had picked up the wine glass on the table, carefully considered the words, took a sip of fine wine, and then looked at Yi Chen with great interest. You and Linger's affairs, you don't plan to talk to me, I say something. Quote. What can we do? It's not good to lie. Chu Xuaner's beautiful eyes blinked at Yi Chen. If the teacher didn't expect it to be bad, you and Linger have seen each other long ago, and you ran away when you saw me twice. Think of me as a spirit. Quote. After hearing this, Yi Chen shook her head, and then turned her head elsewhere. As for Chu Xuaner's words, it was as if she hadn't heard it. It's no use pretending to be silly with me. Chu Xuaner poured another glass of wine for himself, laughing gently while sniffing the overflowing aroma of the wine glass. Let's talk. How did you mess with my sister? Quote. Wen Yan said that the first reaction was Chu Linger, who turned into a stone lamp on the table. She trembled slightly, but did not show up. Here, Yi Chen has coughed and touched the tip of his nose. In fact, it's nothing, but once I stole her miracle. At that time, I hadn't entered Heng Yizong, and I didn't know that Chu Linger was Heng Yu. Zong people, if I knew, I wouldn't dare steal it if I was killed. Quote. Yi Chen's reasons are all set, but this reason barely makes sense. Unlike the daytime, seeing as usual, there is no technical content to lie. A condensed state can steal a miracle in the empty realm. Chu Xuaner was amused. Although she knew Yi Chen was still lying this time, she did not continue questioning. Yi Chen smiled, but only touched the tip of his nose. Can he speak? Does he dare to say? What did he say? That I put your sister on. If this is said, it may not take Chu Linger's shot, and this beautiful master will choke him on the spot. I won't ask again about this. Chu Xuaner got down with a glass of wine, stood up and smiled. Sleep well tonight, and the devil training will continue tomorrow. Talking, Chu's honor stepped out of the door like a gust of wind. Before leaving, he did not forget the charming smile on the corner of his mouth and glanced at the stone lamp on the table. After Chu Xuaner left, the stone lamp on the table instantly gave off white mist. Chu Linger returned to the body and made sure that Chu Xuaner had left. Then he patted his small breast fiercely. Be found. After all, Chu Linger slammed Yi Chen up again, staring at Yi Chen fiercely, threatening, Boy, don't forget what I said, I'm not scaring you, otherwise you will die miserably of. After speaking, Chu Linger walked out of the door like a gust of wind. Chapter 148, 8 Wastelands. After Chu Linger left, Yi Chen sat down on the ground like a slump. All right, the twin sisters came thriller late at night, and almost scared him several times. She decided not to kill me. Holding the jug, Yi Chen drank a glass of wine and muttered softly. It should have been a master's intervention, and she had some scruples, so she let me go. That said, I don't have to leave Heng Yizong. Even so, Yi Chen was still a little bit frightened. He would have to keep one eye open at night when he slept. Otherwise, Chu Linger would be strangled to death on the bed. This crazy woman could do everything. I don't want to. She shook her head. Yi Chen gathered her thoughts, and then she summoned Zizan out of her mind. Zizan, who was upgraded to Zan level, is too different from before. The Battle of Hushan, Zizan's combat power, completely shocked him. He was undefeated against the two true stories and many inner disciples. This seems to be beyond the scope of the general Zan class magpies, and it is simply amazing. Thanks for having you this time. Zizan stood like a javelin, and Yi Chen kept turning around her. Zan level is so strong. If you are upgraded to the level, the general spiritual realm will not be your opponent. With a murmur in his heart, Yi Chen had already planned to find time to upgrade Zizan to the level. However, he also knows that upgrading to prefecture level puppets is not just a problem that can be solved with money. Anyway, I'm still optimistic about you. Yi Chen grinned a little, then ignored Zizan and let her absorb Xingwei moonlight. And he had already sat on the bamboo bed and pulled out an iron piece from his arms. This piece of iron was obtained from Yongbin's storage bag when he shared the stolen goods with Xie Yun. Because of its existence, it made Xian the fire reacted. Baby. Yi Chen held the iron piece, and looked carefully at the moonlight that slanted into the room. I do know that the iron piece was a thing of that era. There is a vicissitudes of rust. The rust is modeled on it. It is not surprising, like a fragment of a knife. Let's see what mystery you have. With a murmur, Yi Chen took out the Zijin small gourd, and then stuffed the small iron piece in. Suddenly, Zijin gourd slightly trembled. Yi Chen just waited for 2 eyes like that, staring at the small gourd, hoping that the weird little gourd could find the mystery on the small iron piece. However, after a long time, the little gourd did not respond. What's the matter? Yi Chen was shocked. Then he held the Zijin small gourd, then pulled the gourd stopper and looked inside. It doesn't matter if you look at it, he just put it together, and the iron piece that he stuffed into the Zijin small gourd was shot out of the small gourd like a golden mane, hitting his brows impartially and then merged in. Suddenly, Yi Chen felt a buzzing in his head. What? Yi Chen was in pain, turned over and fell down, holding his head in his hands and snarling with his teeth. Click. In the midst, Yi Chen seemed to hear such a sound, as if something had broken, and the sound came from his mind, and the iron piece that entered his mind through his brows was broken. Yi Chen clearly saw that the small pieces of iron had become broken pictures. These broken pictures were quickly reorganized to form a complete picture, and his mind was instantly spotted. Get involved. Artistic conception. No more pain in his mind, Yi Chen murmured. Inexplicably, his soul seemed to be detached from the body, and then entered a strange world. This artistic world is very mysterious. There are mountains, waters, jungles, stars, moons and sun. Yi Chen's eyes sparkled. He was not in the mood, but it was the first time that the atmosphere was so magnificent as before. See. Sure enough, not far from a mountain peak, a man wearing a gold battle armor appeared in Yi Chen's sight. The man was majestic, with a back like a mountain, thick black hair, flowing like a waterfall, and shrouded in golden glory, like gold casting, dazzling, standing on top of a mountain, like a monument that will never fall. As this mood left by the predecessor during his lifetime, murmured, Yi Chen looked at the man wearing the gold armor. Soon, the man wearing the gold armor moved. He broke a step in the sky and a golden sword appeared in his hand. At this moment, the storm is full of heavy clouds, and a thunderous thunder flies through the dark clouds like a snake, and the whole artistic conception world is darkened, and a sense of war that Yi Chen is enthusiastic about is presented. 8 wild cuts. With the man's sizzling shout, he throbbed the golden sword, and the knife split the whole world. At this moment, the starlight was dim, the moonlight was extinguished, and the heavens and the earth lost their color for the 8 wastes. This, Shu Shi's scene was too scary, so Yi Chen could not help but take a step back. His face was suddenly pale, and his eyes were full of horror. If he hadn't entered this mood, it would be difficult for him to witness such a big scene all his life. In the distance, the man was cut out and his body began to dissipate slowly, and the world of the artistic conception was blurred at a speed visible to the naked eye until it disappeared. Wow! In the small bamboo room, Yi Chen sat up suddenly from the bed. 8 wild cuts. Yi Chen's heart is still beating and flapping, and it can't calm down for a long time. The artistic conception in consciousness, the predecessor in that artistic conception, the figure of the mighty shore, and the power of destroying the world are all at this moment. The knife was carved in my heart. 8 shortages, such a domineering name. Yi Chen couldn't hide her face from shock. Quietly, he closed his eyes slowly, like an old monk sitting in meditation, with a clear state of mind, a new foreign object, and swimming in comprehension. His sitting was 9 hours. The Jade Girl Peak is completely silent, bathed in the moonlight, adding a unique charm to this pretty peak. In the small bamboo room, Yi Chen, who was sitting still, looked uncertain, sometimes rejoicing, sometimes frowning, sometimes whispering, and sometimes extremely quiet. He didn't know how long before he opened his eyes slowly. A cloud of breath was spit out for a long time, and Yi Chen's face had a hint of enlightenment. There should be fearlessness in the long journey, sweeping the invincible warfare of the 8 wastelands. Seniors and juniors seemed to understand the true meaning of the 8 wastelands. Suddenly, Yi Chen stood up and jumped out of Xiaojufang. He waved a gold knife out of the storage bag, and waved force and strength. Hum. Soon, the method of the 8 wild swords was meditating in his heart, and the blood was boiling with it. Dan Hai was rushing into the golden sword, the sword buzzed, the golden fire lingered on it, the gods glowed, and the golden light shone. 8 wild cuts. As Yi Chen drank suddenly, he stepped out, leaping into the air, holding a gold knife in both hands, and smashing Washan. Hum. Suddenly, a 5-foot-long golden blade appeared, invincible and overbearing. Boom. The bamboo forest trembled slightly, and a huge rock burst not far away, leaving a deep gully on the ground. Yi Chen touched the ground, but he was kneeling on the ground, half knocked, and overpowered, but almost drained his energy. Click. The crisp voice sounded, a crack appeared in the golden knife he held in his hand, and then it turned into fragments at a speed visible to the naked eye. Obviously, the grade of the golden knife was too low to bear the hegemony of the 8 wild slashes. Not only that, but his body, bones, and meridians also caused severe pain, and it seemed that he was hurt by the overbearing 8 wastes. Sure enough, although his face was pale, Yi Chen's face still showed an ecstatic smile. It took him a while to calm down. Chapter 149, Chu Zan's Worries. At this time, the east had a hint of red glow, and Chu Zan'er also came. I didn't sleep all night again. Chu Shuaner first glanced at the not shallow gully on the ground, and there was a hint of wonder in her beautiful eyes, and then she looked at Yi Chen with interest. Can't sleep. Yi Chen grinned. Since you are so energetic, then I will take you down the mountain for the teacher. Chu Shuaner twitched a charming smile, but before Yi Chen spoke, she stretched out her hand and lifted Yi Chen, stepped down and flew into the void. Chu Shuaner was choking like a little chicken. Yi Chen had long been used to it. He was interested in where Chu Shuaner would take him around. Chu Shuaner is very fast, walking in the air, just like a rainbow. Yi Chen can clearly feel the sound of the wind around her ears. Although she is a twin sister, Yi Chen feels that Chu Shuaner is better than Chu Ling. The child is more than a star. Along the way, Chu Shuaner never said a word. Yi Chen looked up at Chu Shuaner more than once. Although he could only see half of his cheeks, he still caught the sadness in Chu Zan's beautiful eyes. Did the master encounter something unhappy? After all, Yi Chen couldn't help asking. Have you ever heard the mysterious body? Chu Shuaner didn't look back, just whispered. Yi Chen froze, never thinking that Chu Shuaner would mention the mysterious body. How could he not know the body of the mysterious spirit and the body against the sky, and the rare body of the mysterious spirit that appeared rare in the past millennium appeared in the Zhengyang sect and is still his former lover? Know what it looks like. Seeing Chu Xuan'er's silence, Yi Chen tentatively asked, "Master, what worry you is the body of mysterious spirit?" Soon after, there will be 3 big comparisons. The Zhengyang sect has a mysterious body, and my Hengyu sect will lose miserably. What's that? Compared to Chu Zan's worry, Yi Chen didn't take it seriously. Victory or defeat is a common thing in military affairs, defeat is defeated, and it doesn't matter if you worry about it, master. What do you know? Chu Xuan'er whispered, I worry about Hengyu's future. What do you mean? Chu Xuan'er took a deep breath and frowned slightly. You still don't know too much, don't really understand the terribleness of the Zonling body, and you don't understand the powerful relationship among them. Now the Zonlingji the body does not pose any threat to my Hengyu, but 100 years later. The mysterious body 100 years later is enough to sweep one case. Quote. Hearing Chu Xuan'er's words, Yi Chen's brow frowned. He didn't think of this. The body of the mysterious spirit is the body that is against the sky. If it really grows up, it will definitely exist in the sky. Can one person and 3 schools match him? Yi Chen began to realize the seriousness of the problem. He used to be a disciple of Zhengyang sect, and even a member of the information cabinet. He knew that Zhengyang sect had the ambition to annex Hengyu and Qingyan sects. Choose ****** wind. Master, did Heng Yizong decide to assassinate the mysterious body? Yi Chen groaned for a moment and looked at Chu Xuan'er again. Hearing that, Chu Xuan'er could not help but look back at Yi Chen, and there was a faint flash of light in her beautiful eyes, but she soon returned to normal, and said lightly, then you think we should go to assassinate? Quote. No, Yi Chen didn't even want to blurt out. Oh. Chu Xuan'er smiled, and Yi Chen answered so simply, she couldn't help looking at Yi Chen. Talk about it. The blood of the sky doesn't mean everything. Yi Chen said, of course, Zonling's body is very powerful, but compared to the average person, she only wins on the starting line. How far is the cultivation path? Who can determine Zonling? Myth will not be broken, and the students always believe that diligence can make up for it. Quote. Yi Chen's words were bland, but his expression was extremely firm. He did not agree with Hengyu to assassinate the mysterious body, not because the mysterious body was his former lover, but because he possessed a fearless heart. If he was afraid of the mysterious body, he would lose one. The pursuit of the peak of Taoism, and what can face the thorns of the road ahead. Looking at Yi Chen's determined look, Chu Xuan'er showed a touching smile. Little guy, you can have such a comprehension, I am very happy for the teacher. Then we Hengyu, will we assassinate the mysterious body? Yi Chen looked at Chu Xuan'er intently. Perhaps. Chu Xuan'er answered ambiguously. Keeping Zongman's heritage is not relying on grand words. You are still a disciple. There are some things you don't have as long as Zongman wants. We don't joke about the future of Zongmen. Sometimes we, self-proclaimed monks, do all things that are unethical. They are unreasonable. Some things we can say, but we can't afford to gamble. Quote. Yi Chen silently, although he would never approve of Zongmen to assassinate the Zonling body, but he also understood the meaning of Chu Xuan'er's discourse. He blamed the Zonling body for being too powerful, and the person in power was in charge of protecting the inheritance of Zongmen. Helpless, he knew. This is not something you should worry about, just practice with peace of mind. Taking a glance at the silent Yi Chen, Chu Xuan'er speeded up. Not long after, Chu Xuan'er stopped in the endless mountain forest. The monster forest. Yi Chen recognized where it was. You're no stranger to this place. Chu Xuan'er glanced at Yi Chen. No stranger. Yi Chenggen laughed. After joining Heng Yizong, his first mission was to come to this monster forest, and a lot of nonsense happened in this monster forest, such as talking with Spring Knight of Chu Linger. Since the door is familiar, you don't need to introduce me more. Chu Xuan'er said, holding Yi Chen directly into the monster forest. Master, do you want me to kill the monster? It can be said like this. The two said. Chu Xuan'er took Yi Chen to the depths of the monster forest. It was here that Chu Xuan'er put Yi Chen on the cloud beside him. Now, in the next few days, you will practice here. Yi Chen didn't answer. At this moment, he was drooling and looked down, his eyes staring straight. Below, there is a jungle of towering trees and magnificent trees and trees. You can smell a strong atmosphere without going down. If you look closely, you can see the blood-red shadows flying back and forth in the jungle. A scarlet fox, as fast as the wind. Wind fox. Yi Chen looked at Chu Xuan'er subconsciously. Chu Xuan'er didn't speak, but just smiled and nodded. Master, this is not fun. Yi Chen yanked the corner of his mouth fiercely. Fenghu is famous for its speed, and its strength is not weaker than our monk's true state of the sun, plus a strong physical body. You let me in practice here, can I still survive? Quote. Since it's devil training, you should have realized it already. Chu Xuan'er shrugged. It's your firm conviction that allows you to fight with Fengying at Yunfeng. Here you are fighting with Fenghu. Hone your speed. Of course, whether you are fighting with Fengying or Fenghu, you need to understand that under extreme pressure, you can better stimulate your potential. Quote. That's what it says, but, hey, I'm not ready yet. Yi Chen just wanted to say something, but before he said a word, he was pushed by Chu Xuan'er, and Yi Chen, who was bitterly forced, was thrown into the realm of the wind fox monster. Roar. Yi Chen had just landed, and there were rumbling roars from all directions, and only the sound of the wind was heard, and a **** rush came. Soon, a wind fox fluttered. It was like a blood stalk. Yo Chen was unable to catch his trace because of the fast speed. Chapter 150. Speedway. Yi Chen's heart was shocked, and she immediately stepped on the mysterious footwork of Shuaiying Qianguan. However, his speed was still slow. A **** fox shadow passed through the oblique side, and a blood pupa appeared on his arm. If you look closely, you can see that it was caught with sharp claws. This speed is too horrible. Yi Chen pulled back while drawing the Qishao sword, one sword splitting one sword rainbow. However, his sword was slashed in the air, not even the fur of Fenghu. Before he turned around, another **** fox shadow flashed, and another bloodstain was added to his body. Even without the suppression of the moon shadow 7-star ring, I can't keep up with the speed of the wind fox. Yi Chen gritted his teeth and tried his best to wave the Qishao sword, condensing into a heavenly sword array. Roar. A wind fox rushed forward, a huge fox shadow appeared, and smashed Yi Chen's defensive sword array. Yi Chen was shocked and stunned, but the wind fox was strong and physically unscathed. Puff, puff, puff. In retrogression, **** fox shadows staggered, and every time he appeared, a bloodstain was left on Yi Chen's body. Ben Lei. Yi Chen yelled, and Ben Lei slammed into the **** fox shadow rushing towards him. Boom. The speed of Scarlet Fox Shadow was too fast. Yi Chen failed to hit it with one palm, but smashed a megalith behind Fenghu. Shake the mountains. A Yang finger. Kong Long. Next, Yi Chen played his life to perform mystery, but allowed him to dominate his secret technique, but he did nothing. Fenghu is indeed a monster known for his speed. Ever since he fought, Yi Chen has been constantly wounded. What makes him feel helpless is that he has never even seen the full face of a Fenghu. At half an hour, Yi Chen's robe had become blood-colored, and his body had no less than 100 paw prints. It was horrible. It was not that he was not strong enough, because the speed of this wind fox was so weird that he covered his body. ICA and show my strength. Yi Chen was completely out of temper, and even his most proud body magic could not keep up with the speed of Fenghu, giving him an unprecedented frustration. Master, aren't you going to say anything? Point me at it. Yi Chen, anxious by the wind and fox, couldn't help but glance at Chu Xuan'er, who was crouching in the air. Meditation, condensed gas. Chu Xuan'er only said these 4 words, and then he kept silent. That's over. This is the first day. What are you in a hurry? Chu Xuan'er said. Yi Chen almost vomited blood. If you don't let you suffer, how can you remember it? Chu Xuan'er still didn't open his eyes and laughed. How long can I support it, young people? It's good to have more suffering. Hearing that, Yi Chen suddenly had an urge to scold his mother. Puff, puff. The wind fox is still raging, and every time he crosses, Yi Chen will show bleeding marks. I do not know when. Yi Chen fell into a pool of blood, and his energy was completely consumed, and the whole person passed out. At this point, Chu Xuan'er got up and took Yi Chen away from here. At night, In a cave, the bonfire was bright, and the half-dead Yi Chen rubbed his temple and stood up. Huh! With a faint sound in his heart, Yi Chen's eyes turned left and right, and he found that the cave looked familiar. After a while, his face could not help but become a little strange. This cave is not the cave he and Chu Linger did. Ah! Oh! Inexplicably, Yi Chen had an illusion, and the ears of Chu Linger could not help but ring, and the thought of the flawless carcass made him feel itchy all over. Awake, Chu Shuiner, with her knees crossed, opened her eyes by the campfire, interrupting Yi Chen's reverie in a word. Wake up! Yi Chen touched the tip of his nose, secretly saying that the world was strange. 2 months ago, he and Chu Linger were here for the Chinese New Year's Eve, and 2 months later, he was sitting by Chu Shuiner by the campfire. I don't know if she told her about that night now. Will she choke me on the spot? Yi Chen muttered softly in her heart. Don't you want to talk about your feelings against Fenghu today? Chu Shuiner glanced at Yi Chen. It hurts. Yi Chen only said one word, not forgetting to rub his swollen face. Then you thought, how slow are you with Fenghu? Our speed is not a level at all. Yi Chen whispered. Actually you can make them slower. Chu Shuiner smiled. After hearing the words, Yi Chen's eyes lighted up instantly, knowing that Chu Shuiner was about to point him. He rubbed his hands and stepped forward, smiled, and asked, Master, how to make them slower? It's very simple. If you go faster than them, don't they slow down naturally? The problem is that my speed is already the limit. Yi Chen said hastily. It seems that you still have a little bit to eat. Chu Shuiner stood up with a smile, then grabbed Yi Chen's collar with one hand, and walked out of the cave with Yi Chen. Devil training, continue. Roar, roar. Soon, the silent night was broken by the roar of beasts. In the middle of the night, Chu Shuiner threw Yi Chen again into the place where the wind fox monster beast invaded. Yi Chen, who had just recovered, fell into a nightmare again. It wasn't until dawn that Chu Zhonner returned to the cave carrying the ****** Yi Chen. So, day after day, it was 9 days. For the 9th day, Yi Chen hadn't slept in a sense of stability. Chu Shuiner didn't give him the slightest chance to breathe. Once he recovered, he would be thrown into the place where the wind fox monster was infested. Every time he came back, except for the scars on his body, bruises. Naturally, Yi Chen's bitterness in the past 9 days was not in vain. His physical speed has clearly made a breakthrough under the training of Fenghu. Although he still cannot keep up with the speed of Fenghu, the gain is still not small. It was another good day in the sun, and Yi Chen was thrown into the realm of the wind fox monster again. Roar. Yi Chen had just landed, and ***** fox shadows came out on the oblique side. Seeing this, Yi Chen hurriedly stepped away from the mysterious footsteps, and the ***** fox shadow was worn against his body. Roar. Before waiting for the body to stabilize, the second Fenghu called out, followed by the third, the fourth. Yi Chen started to become busy and confused. Although the speed and magic of footsteps are extremely incomparable, but they can't keep up with the speed of the bloodstains. Before an hour, he is already a blood man. At this point, Chu Shuiner, who was knee-crossed in the air, slowly opened his eyes and whispered, Concentrate, calm. It may be said that since he brought Yi Chen to face the fox, it has been just these 4 words from beginning to end. Calm and calm. Yi Chen, who retreated embarrassed, never cut off the 4 words in his heart, but no matter what he did, he couldn't keep up with the speed of the wind fox, and the blood on his body was one after another. You know, why didn't you bother you after 9 days of being a teacher? On the cloud, Chu Shuiner said lightly. I don't know, Yi Chen responded while avoiding the fox's culling. The so-called speed has nothing to do with the cultivation of people. Chu Shuiner said again, your body magic is mysterious, but it is also this mystery that makes you follow its routine too much, and it is not you are driving it, but it is driving you. Quote. Chu Shuiner's words were hesitant, but Yi Chen, who had been fighting hard, listened quietly, and his heart was secretly trying to figure it out. He knew that on the 9th training of the devil, Chu Shuiner was really pointing him. Speed is also a Tao. The Tao of speed is the Tao of man and the Tao of man. Yi Chen meditated, and Chu Shuiner's words sounded again. It's the people who guard the road, the people who are not the road. Yi Chen muttered. The speed of promise is like the shadow, the imagination is infinite, and the heart is fantasy. Quietly, the true meaning of speed and magic is flashing in his mind. Thousands of magic shadows, indeed, is the best secret method of body magic. It is indeed mysterious. It makes him dare not to question the true meaning of it, but it is this mystery that draws him a circle and makes him dare not step out of this established encounter, so that he is here from beginning to end. Hovering in circles. Master, are you going out of this circle for the disciples? Thousands of fantasy, invisible and shadowless, infinitely infinite. Speed way, I'm the way. Suddenly, there was an epiphany flashing in Yi Chen's confused eyes, murmuring, Master, I understand what you say. Chapter 151, Thick-Skinned Meat. In the ***** wind, Yi Chen closed her eyes gently. Suddenly, his footwork began to change, and it was a bit slow, but with each step, there was some inexplicable spirit. Puff, puff, puff. The scarlet fox shadow is still flying, and his body is getting more and more scars, but he seems to be unaware of it and he doesn't care. The whole mind is immersed in a mysterious ecstasy. Suppressed, but felt like his body fluttering like a gust of wind. Soon, his footwork began to speed up. Although cluttered, but strange, each step seemed to span a long distance. A series of golden afterimages behind him could not tell which one was his body. I don't know when, the speed of the wind fox in his eyes became slower. The true face of the wind fox was that his eyes became extremely clear. Roar, roar. Flying back and forth between the wind foxes was a bit irritable. Yi Chen in their eyes was undergoing a weird change in appearance, which seemed slow, but when he rushed over, he could always be hidden by Yi Chen. This boy has a terrifying understanding. On the clouds, Chu Xuaner smiled with a lot of surprises. It seems that the bitterness of the first 9 days was not for nothing. Chu Xuaner whispered a smile. Roar, roar. Below, the wind foxes are even more irritable. On the contrary, Yi Chen seemed more calm and calm. Although he was still being injured, he apparently has gradually kept up with the speed of Feng Hu. He is like a wind, and has no trace. I do not know when. He slightly raised his arm. Dan Hai swelled with anger, instilled on the palm of his hand, and there was more thunder and lightning between his fingers. Ben Lei. With his loud roar, Ben Lei suddenly hit. Roar. Then, a flying fox in the slanting side was knocked out by his palm. At this time, Yi Chen also slowly opened his eyes and murmured, the speed way, really mysterious. He knows that although his speed has made a qualitative leap, but the speed is endless, what he has experienced is always only the tip of the iceberg. To go further, he still needs to refine in many years in the future. Quick practice, so far. Chu's honor on the cloud moved and waved Yi Chen away. It was still the cave. Until Chu Xuaner laid Yi Chen down, the goods still touched his chin with a thoughtful expression. Chu Xuaner didn't bother, but stuffed a miracle into Yi Chen's mouth, and then took out a large wooden barrel filled with spiritual fluid, and threw Yi Chen directly to help Yi Chen heal the wound. I don't know when Yi Chen came back from the artistic conception of speed. Master, I finally managed to find the feeling, and you brought me back. In the wooden barrel, Yi Chen showed a wet head and looked at Chu's honor sitting cross-legged in doubt. Now that you understand the truth, there will be time to ponder in the future. Chu Xuaner said, having stood up and reached out to carry Yi Chen out of the barrel. Devil training, the next one, start. It's so fast, I haven't fully recovered yet. The skin is thick, and you call it an injury. Chu Xuaner ignored and walked out of the cave sturdily holding Yi Chen. In this way, Yi Chen was held by Chu's honor as a chicken went deeper into the monster forest. Soon, Chu Xuaner stopped in a **** mountain forest. Just after being laid down, Yi Chen saw a giant monster in the jungle below, like a hill with a huge skull and red eyes, a spine covered with scales, a thick tail, and a spike on it, such as steel. Knife-like, glimmering. Zan, Xuanbing lizard. Yi Chen seems to recognize this monster. The monster's evaluation of this monster is ferocious, thick-skinned, it is comparable to the monk's true son, and stronger than the wind fox. Zhen Yang could not break his defense. Yi Chen already had a bad hunch in his heart. Needless to say, Chu Shuner would let him go to fight with Schwanbing Lizard next. Schwanbing Lizard, your strength to temper. On the side, Chu's honor smiled. Yi Chen twitched the corner of his mouth and couldn't help looking at Chu Shuner. I said, Master, Feng Ying before, Feng Hu after, and Schwanbing Lizard again this time. How do I feel that you don't see me as an adult? You training, sooner or later I will be killed by you. Quote. You are a stranger, how can you train you with ordinary experience? Chu Shuner shrugged his shoulders in disapproval. I want to go home. I want to be beautiful. Chu Shuner lifted his foot and chopped Yi Chen down. As soon as Yi Chen fell, the huge black ice lizard found Yi Chen. Roar. Immediately, it was the deafening roar of the Schwanbing Lizard. The roar sounded strong, the ancient wood was broken, the boulder collapsed, and Yi Chen, who was in it, was screamed with blood. Not ordinary fierce. Yi Chen trembled back. Roar. Mysterious ice lizards have come to shake the huge body, shaking the ground, and the icy air gushes out from the mouth of the blood basin. It seems that if the tide generally flows towards Yi Chen, wherever it passes, the giant stone and ancient trees submerged, the flowers and plants were frozen into ice scum, and the earth was frozen into ice at a speed that was visible to the naked eye. Shanwo Xian. Seeing this, Yi Chen's heart was stunned. Danhai fairy fire burst out, protecting his body, and quickly retreated. Do you have a real fire? Chu Shuner, sitting on the cloud, suddenly stood up, staring at Yi Chen, her eyes full of astonishment. This expression, apparently, did not know that Yi Chen was in charge of fairy fire. Oh. I already have it. Yi Chen gave a stunned glance at Chu's honor. Don't you know? Are you sure you told me? Chu Shuner looked at Yi Chen angrily. I thought Elder Shu Fu told you. Chu Shuner simply stopped talking, but rubbed her brows fiercely. Shu Fu did not tell her. Shu Fu must have thought that Yi Chen had already said it. The matter was all right. Shu Fu and Yi Chen thought the other party had already said she didn't talk about her feelings so much that she was still in the dark. This kid has real fire. Needless to say, he is also an alchemist. Chu Shuner seemed to understand something. No wonder Brother Shu Fu valued Yi Chen so much, and he did not hesitate to assign his baby apprentice to Yi Chen in condensed air. No wonder he can practice the mystery of that wild body. Having said that, Chu Shuner looked silently at Yi Chen below, with a sullen expression on his face. Good boy, you have been your master for so long. I haven't seen you show real fire. You can stand it. Roar. Below, the mysterious ice lizard is showing its mighty power, and the tide of mysterious ice has drowned Yi Chen. If there is real fire, I can't die. Chu Shuner glanced and sat down with her knees down. Sure enough, as soon as she sat down, the tide of the mysterious ice broke a gap, and Yi Chen rushed out of the gap. Boom. On the face, the ice-covered soul of the Schwanbing Lizard stepped on Ling Tian. Although it is a foot, it is larger than Yi Chen's body. In Yi Chen's eyes, the foot of the Schwanbing Lizard is like a boulder general. Between the electric light and flint, Yi Chen turned out his hand and took out the Tianjian sword, holding the sword with both hands, and raised it over his head. Quang dang! Schwanbing Lizard stepped on the Tianjian sword and made a sound of metal collision. Boom! Yi Chen half knelt on the ground on the spot, and the Schwanbing Lizard kicked down, weighing a lot of weight, due to his tough body. If he changed to a general condensed state, I am afraid that he would be trampled on the spot. Yeah, Yi Chen's teeth snapped, his blue foreheads were exposed one by one, and the Schwanbing Lizard's foot pressed like a mountain, so that he couldn't move, and there was a sound of bones in his body. Immortal fire. Under the crisis, Yi Chen summoned the immortal fire once again, covering the entire Tianjian sword. Roar. Immortal fire and mysterious ice, the innate attributes are relative. The mysterious ice on the souls of the mysterious lizards has melted, and the mysterious lizards also feel pain and lift their feet. At this moment, Yi Chenxuan went out with a bang. As soon as Yi Chen stopped, the stout giant tail of Schwanbing Lizard throbbed. Yi Chen hurriedly blocked Tiana in front of her. LB. The Schwanbing Lizard's tail dangled on the Tianjian sword, making a dull sound, and Yi Chen was also flung out by its giant tail for more than 10 feet, breaking a dozen towering ancient trees before collapsing a huge rock. Wolverine crawled out of the gravel. Yi Chen spit out blood, his arms were already bloody, and more than one bone broke in his body. Chapter 152, Speed Blend. Boom, boom, boom. Not far away, the Schwanbing lizard rushed again. Although it was large in size, it was fast, and every time the sole of the foot fell, it would make a bumping sound, rushing forward, and carrying a majestic storm. Come for me. Yi Chen turned around and jumped up, instilling her energy in the palm of his hand, and Ben Lei blasted out with a strong palm. Boom. The horrible palm print exploded on the Schwanbing lizard, but failed to shake it for half a minute. Schwanbing lizard was furious and once again exhaled Schwanbing's air. Yi Chen had already avoided it, and jumped forward, jumping to the back of the Schwanbing lizard, without saying a word. Quang dang. The sound of metal collision sounded. Yi Chen was shocked and groaned backwards, and his entire arms were numb. The Schwanbing lizard was like the introduction of the monster beast. The skin is not ordinary thick, and the defense is not ordinary strong. Ben Lei. A sword failed to hurt the Schwanbing lizard. Yi Chen waved his arm again and was banged on the back of the Schwanbing lizard by a strong palm. However, Yi Chen ate again, and his palm seemed to hit the hard steel plate without hurting the Schwanbing lizard. Instead, he was shaken by the force of the shock and his mouth overflowed with blood. Roar. After being attacked twice by Yi Chen, Schwanbing lizard became angry. Ha, ha, I saw the Schwanbing scales on its back stand upright, and then screamed and moved towards Yi Chen. The number is not generally huge. Tiana sword formation. Yi Chen raised his sword and defended with a sword of heaven. Hum. The giant tail of the Schwanbing lizard flew over and was powerful. He smashed Yi Chen's heavenly sword array on the spot. Yi Chen flew out on the spot, and his body smashed a huge stone. Roar. The black ice lizard roared, coming over with its huge body. Shake the mountains. Suddenly he got up. Yi Chen punched out with a domineering punch. A yang finger. Immediately, it was a finger. Kong Long. In the end, the overbearing Kanglong mystery was also used. Boom, boom. Successive attacks hit the Schwanbing lizard, but failed to shake the Schwanbing lizard. Instead, he was knocked down and flew out again. The Schwanbing lizard was huge and heavy, and his defensive power was overbearing. It's almost tickling. Boom. Yi Chen's body flew upside down, crushing a huge rock again. Yeah, Yi Chen cursed, immediately took out a gold knife, then turned over and jumped up, stepped down, jumped to a height of 3 feet, and then held the knife with both hands, raised it over his head, and slashed down. 8 Wastelands. With Yi Chen's roar, a 3-foot-long sword Meng appeared, sturdily slicing on the back of Schwanbing lizard. How can this boy learn such a domineering sword? On the cloud, seeing Yi Chen's 8 desolate cuts, Chu Xuaner's beautiful eyes flashed an astonishing light. With her vision, she naturally saw those 8. Desolate horror. Quang dang. During the speech, the sound of metal collision came again. Yi Chen was swept away, and sparks were rubbed on the spine of Schwanbing lizard, but only a shallow knife mark was left on the back of Schwanbing lizard. Click. Suddenly, the golden sword shattered. Puff. Then, Yi Chen spurted out a blood spurt, and the 8 sects were overpowered, but he still could not break the defense of the Schwanbing lizard. Instead, he was blown out by the terror of the shock, and his whole body flew out. Bang. Not far away, a hard rock wall collapsed by him. At this point, Chu Xuaner shot, shattered the gravel, and rolled away the Yi Chen. Although the battle with the Schwanbing lizard was short, Yi Chen's tricks were all in full force, especially the last 8 wastes, completely drained all the vitality from the body, and was unable to fight again. On a small hillside, Chu Xuaner put Yi Chen down. First, he inserted a miracle into Yi Chen's mouth, and then instilled spiritual power into Yi Chen's body. I do not know when Yi Chen woke up from fainting, but his face was still pale. He was basically traumatized against Fenghu, but he suffered internal injuries against Schwanbing lizard. In addition to the backlash of the 8 wild swords, it was the backlash of Schwanbing lizard, which made his bones and meridians extremely painful. Schwanbing lizard is more difficult to entangle than the wind fox. Yi Chen's hang did not pull a few, the skin is not generally thick. Even if my speed is far better than it, but many mysteries can't break its defense. Quote. Why? Excuse me. Chu Xuaner looked at Yi Chen with interest. Fight against the fox, You told me to endure 9 days of crickets before pointing me. Master, you can tell me. Confront the Schwanbing lizard. You are going to let me suffer a few days of crickets to point me. Yi Chen watched sternly Jie Chu Zhan air. Then how many days do you think? Chu Xuaner looked at Yi Chen with a smile. It's better to tell me now. Yi Chen grinned and grinned. Say it early. Think of beauty. Chu Xuaner muttered Yi Chen in a word. Then, Chu Xuaner lifted Yi Chen with one hand and flew to the jungle where the Schwanbing lizard invaded. Roar. Soon, the jungle roared the mysterious lizard. Due again. Yi Chen's situation was as miserable as ever, and his defeat was surprisingly neat. He tried his best to defeat him, but still defeated neatly. The domineering defense of the Schwanbing lizard made him unable to lift his head. Like fighting against Fenghu, every time he was brought back by Chu Xuaner, he was bloody. After he was injured, he was thrown in again. In this way, day and night are changed, the sun and the moon reincarnate, and 5 days pass in a blink. However, during these 5 days, Yi Chen was not without gain. At least in successive battles, his strength was improving, and several times, he had a posture to advance on the spot. Early in the morning, before dawn, Yi Chen was dragged to fight with the Schwanbing lizard. The speed and strength blend. This time, Chu Xuaner spit out 4 words as soon as he threw Yi Chen down. What do you mean? Below, after Yi Chen punched out, he looked at Chu Xuaner. Extreme power requires extreme speed coordination, accumulating power at extreme speeds, and bursting at extreme speeds in order to exert the indomitable power. The truth here, you understand. Charging in speed, bursting in speed. Murmured to himself, Yi Chen flashed back, a flash of enlightenment flashed in his eyes. So it is. Yi Chen's mouth showed a smile. Immediately, he quickly retreated. Then, he suddenly stopped and kicked the ground. With the rebound of the ground, he shot out like a cannonball. After all, the shadows were behind him all the way, and the speed reached the extreme. In the process, he was full of energy into the fist. While rushing towards the Schwanbing lizard, he was almost charged. Roar. The Schwanbing lizard was also cold from the opposite side, and had already opened the mouth of the blood basin to swallow Yi Chen into his belly. At this time, Chu Xuaner on the cloud also got up again, in order to shoot when Yi Chen was in danger of life. It's close, it's close. When he was 3 feet away from the Schwanbing lizard, Yi Chen still didn't make a shot. Because of the insane mad infusion, his fists were full of terrifying power, and thunder and lightning were walking between his fingers. 2 feet, 1 foot, Yi Chen still did not shoot. Roar. The Schwanbing lizard roared violently, and the ***** mouth would swallow Yi Chen into it. And at this moment, Yi Chen moved, the speed climbed to the extreme, and the power accumulated on his fist reached its peak, and he was punched out. Give it to me. With Yi Chen's growl, he punched firmly in the upper jaw of Schwanbing lizard. Chapter 153, Break. Puff. Suddenly, blood splattered, and Schwanbing lizard's hard upper jaw was blown through by Yi Chen. Roar. Mysterious lizard howled, shaking the jungle. Good boy, this blow is not bad. Chu Xuaner let out a deep sigh of relief, showing a smile of relief. Flying into the sky, Yi Chen below had already stepped on the fairy fire with his feet on the cloud of fairy fire, and when it rose to 100 feet, he suddenly swooped down from the sky. The golden fairy fire wrapped his whole body. It can still fly. Chu Xuaner could not help raising his cheeks, and there was a look of wonder in his eyes. Chu Xuaner touched her chin and seemed to have figured out some things. The cliff at the end of Hengyu Zongling Grass Garden is at least 30,000 feet high. Rao is her empty nether world who dare not fall down easily. If it is from the cliff, flying up from the bottom is also very laborious, but Yi Chen just climbed up easily. Is it because of the fairy fire? That said, he can climb up so quickly from the bottom of the Lingsaoyuan cliff, and also rely on the fairy fire cloud. Chu Xuaner evoked a charming smile. Little guy, you are getting more and more interesting. Quote. On the other side, Yi Chen, stepping on the cloud of fairy fire, had already reached the highest point he could fly, and then fell like a golden star, as fast as a golden mang. Eye-catching. Roar. Below, the Schwanbing lizard roared, opened the mouth of the blood basin again, and exhaled the air of Schwanbing. However, Shanwo and Xuanbing met each other. Yi Chen was wrapped by Shanwo again, breaking through the Xuanbing's air all the way, and the whole body's chi was instilled into the fist during the dive, only to erupt at a critical moment. Break me! With Yi Chen's roar, his body directly slid into the open mouth of the Xuanbing lizard, and then punched out. The whole body hit the Xuanbing lizard's belly. Puff! The stench of blood spewed more than 3 feet high from the mouth of the Xuanbing lizard. Puff! Blood splattered again, and Yi Chen, who had penetrated into the belly of the Xuanbing lizard, punched a blood hole from its lower abdomen, and he rushed out of the belly of the Xuanbing lizard. The whole body was bloody. Cool! Breaking the defense of the Xuanbing lizard, Yi Chen once again jumped on the back of the Xuanbing lizard, throwing a fist and smashing. Puff! 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 The combination of speed and force, although he did not fully understand, but with the cooperation of speed and extreme strength, he did break through the defense of the Xuanbing lizard. He really saw the blood, and the Xuanbing lizard was covered with hard scales. The flesh and blood of his back was blurred by his punch. Roar! Roar! The Xuanbing lizard screamed with strength, rolling its huge body to toss in the jungle, overwhelming pieces of towering ancient trees, and crushing one after another of megaliths. At the end of the war, Yi Chen had entered the realm of ecstasy, and his fist and speed blended, and his strength was exerted to the extreme. He was thrown down several times, but all rushed up again at the next moment. Well, the cultivation is now over. Chu Xuaner said again. Don't panic, wait for a while. Yi Chen, who had just been thrown off, killed behind the Xuanbing lizard in an instant, and then hugged the giant tail of the Xuanbing lizard with his hands. He was like a beast, and threw the Xuanbing lizard up. Boom! Immediately, the huge body of the Xuanbing lizard was smashed to the ground by him. The earth shook, and was smashed out of a large pit. Come again! Yi Chen soared with blood, and threw the Xuanbing lizard up again. Boom! 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 Next, the jungle was filled with such thumping sounds. The huge dark ice lizard was blurred by his flesh, and the emerging blood flowed to the ground, converging into a ****** creek. I don't know when the thumping came to a halt. Yi Chen staggered up to the top of the Xuanbing lizard, punched its head open, and picked out a glowing stone from the inside. That's the beast element. The Xuanbing lizard is covered with the essence element. Done. Chu Xuaner slowly walked down from the void. Finished. Yi Chen hugged the beast element, grinning and shameless. Eat the beast yuan. It should be able to advance to Ren Yuan. Chu Xuaner said with a smile. Okay. Yi Chen immediately jumped up a small hill, then sat on the ground with her knees crossed, swallowing the beast element of the Xuanbing lizard. Soon, the immortal fire came out to help Yi Chen refine the beast element. It has to be said that the beast element of the Xuanbing lizard contains the majestic sperm element. Once dissolved, it will be filled with the major meridians of Yi Chen's body. Consumption is also rapidly replenished, and his breath is rising all the way. My sister, I've been in the condensed gas for so long, this time it won't be complete without rushing to the realm of the people. Yi Chen secretly determined. Along the way, the large capacity Danhai has indeed given the terrorist force different from ordinary people, but it is also because the capacity of this Danhai is too huge, so that every time he breaks through a small realm, it is more difficult than ordinary monks several times. This is only a small realm in the big realm, and as Shu Wei's climbing, he breaks even more difficult, just like the Yunbi peak rushing through the human realm, only because the foundation is too strong, so that not only does it not go through in the realm of people, it hurts itself. Today, things are different. The devil's experience over the past few days has allowed him to gather more power, and Shouwei has really reached that critical point. The beast element of the Xuanbing lizard is the opportunity for him to break through. Such a monster is comparable to the real world of a monk. The essence of it is very majestic, enough to be worthy of a high-grade spirit. It's stabbing. It's stabbing. I don't know when Yi Chen's thunder and lightning appeared in 2s and 3s, even on the meridian bones in the body, such thunder and lightning. The beast element of the Xuanbing lizard has been extremely refined, and the majestic sperm refined from the refining has poured into his Danhai from all major meridians, and the golden ocean of anger has instantly waved the waves, very restless, seems to be looking for catharsis. Break it for me, Yi Chen growled, his fists clenched, and his teeth snapped. Ha, sure enough, There seemed to be some barriers in the meditation, a brand new portal appeared, and Yi Chen's cultivation broke into the human realm. Yes, Chu Xuaner, not far away, once again showed a smile of relief. Boom. However, as soon as her words fell, in the void, there was a roar. Okay. Suddenly thundering, Chu Xuaner could not help but look up to the nihilism. Bang. Then, a greater roar rang through the night, clear skies, and changes in clouds, converging into a thick dark cloud at a speed visible to the naked eye. The whole world was darkened, and among the thick dark clouds, lightning flashed, and the sky seemed in his anger, a majesty trembled Chu Xuaner's heart. That's... Chu Xuan's daughter stared at nothing. It's a disaster. Looking at it, Chu Xuaner suddenly changed. Chapter 154, Chopped by Thunder. Boom. Rumble. The heavens and the earth were dark, the clouds changed, thunder thundered through the sky, and the thick black clouds were about to crush the earth. How could it be Tianji? Chu Xuaner Yuko slightly opened, looking at the sky full of disbelief, his face became a little pale instantly. That's what, Yi Chen on the hillside, just about to absorb the heaven and earth aura, poured into the body, but was also awakened by the roar, staring at the sky, such a huge scene, he also saw this for the first time. Heavenly terror. Yi Chen was suddenly shocked, remembering the secrets that he had peeked into. There is such a person in the world, who has made great achievements and is jealous of God. He will descend heavenly throne to destroy him. This is Tianji. Yi Chen looked up at Tianqiang with astonishment. Since he became a monk, he has seen Tianji for the first time. The magnificent scene, the extermination of the world, makes he shivered. Who is such a cow fork, has brought Tianji to the sky? Looking at the sky, Yi Chen froze. What are you looking at? That's your disaster. Seeing Yi Chen as if she were all right, Chu Xuaner hurriedly scolded. Mine. Yi Chen froze on the spot. I'm just an advanced human being, how could it lead to disaster? Tianjia doesn't look at repairs, only talents. Chu Xuaner said hastily. Then, Chu Xuaner retreated and looked out at Yi Chen with a somber look. Tianji needs you to cross it, and I can't help you for the teacher. If you cross Tianji, you will be born. If you do NT, you will die. I'm leaning. Yi Chen was so shocked that he stood on the hillside like an ant on a hot pot. He only saw Tianji for the first time, and he saw his own for the first time. Robbery, rouse no matter how determined, and panic also. Master, how can you go with me this day? In a hurry, Yi Chen hurriedly looked at Chu Xuaner. Tiansai has a time limit. During this time, whether you are avoiding or resisting, all you have to do is to let yourself live and survive at all costs. Hearing that, Yi Chen hurriedly turned out and took out the Tianshan, staring at the sky, and dare not have the slightest intention. Boom. Soon, in the void, a thunderbolt broke down. Yi Chen hurriedly clenched his tentacles to block. LB. The thunderbolt was split unbiesedly on the heavens. Puff. Yi Chen was half knelt on the ground after being chopped, and a burst of blood spurted out. The hands holding the sword were suddenly blurred, and the whole body flew out. The hillside at the foot was also chopped under the thunder and lightning. Collapse. So strong. Yi Chen looked startled, and got up in a hurry. Boom. Rumble. Soon, the thunder and lightning were split again, and the number was not in the minority, without exception, they all split in the direction of Yi Chen. Wow. When Yi Chen saw this, he turned away. However, the thunder and lightning that cut down seemed to be spiritual. Wherever he ran, they slashed toward wherever they went. Puff. A thunderbolt slashed. Yi Chen P flesh flew, the whole person flew out and had not landed yet. A thunderbolt slashed, and he was hit again, and the ground was cut out of a large pit. Even the third one, as soon as he got up, he was splattered with blood. In the distance, Chu Xuaner looked nervously here. He had to come over several times, but he stopped his body. Tianji is not a joke. No matter who it is, if he rushes over, he will also be dragged to join the robbers. Chu Xuaner wants to pass by, but it will undoubtedly hurt Yi Chen. The sky disaster brought by her empty realm will make Yi Chen fly away. I underestimated your talent for the teacher. Chu Xuaner clenched his hands tightly, and Yi Chen would lead to a calamity, which greatly exceeded her expectations and caught her by surprise. You know, her cultivation of the netherworld has never attracted Tianji, never thinking that Yi Chen, who has just advanced into the realm of people, has brought Tianji, so she is so shocked that she is so talented. I can't help you for the teacher, everything is up to you. Can't come forward to help, Chu's honor can only continue to encourage Yi Chen to persist. What? In the distance, Yi Chenu's screaming sound came from him. He was flying in the sky, his body was no longer visible, and many bones were exposed, which was scary. Boom! On top of nothingness, the thunder prevailed and fell again for 9 days. It. Yi Chen was furious and jumped up. Shanwo. With a loud roar, Yi Chen summoned Shanwo and turned it into a cloud. He stomped on the cloud with his feet, flew into the sky, and fell into the midnight. His fist was filled with majestic truth. Chi, speed and force blend together, and the peak hits quickly. Boom! A thunderbolt slashed, Yi Chen fisted up. Suddenly, Yi Chen, who had just flew into the midnight, fell to a star and smashed the earth out of a large pit. Lao Su is just an advanced person. You want to hack me, there is no door. In the big pit, Yi Chen got up, and with a loud curse, once again stepped into the sky with the cloud of fairy fire. Boom! The roar of the void was another thunderbolt. Break me! Yi Chen roared and waved his fists against the sky. Puff! Suddenly, his fist burst and his body fell like the first time. He fell from the void and smashed a huge boulder into pieces. During this period, blood was sprayed more than once, and his bones were broken. Root. Yi Chen. In the distance, Chu Xuaner's expression suddenly became pale, and Tianji's power was far beyond her expectations. How could Yi Chen, who had just entered the advanced world, could resist? Can't die. In the big pit, the golden light shone, and Yi Chen drove the cloud of fairy fire for the 3rd time straight to the supper. There is a kind of chopped Lao Su. Yi Chen roared, his blood rose, his face burning like fire, his flesh-blooded face, full of firmness, glaring at the sky, the only true chi, all poured into the fist. Inside. Inexplicably, he was immersed in a wonderful state, and the truth of the 8 wastelands was lingering in his mind, making him boiled with blood, fearless, and hectic warfare, making his whole person look like a person. Dazzling flame. At this moment, the so-called sky robbery is no longer as scary as he imagined, because he is fearless. One punch quickly blends with strength, mixing the invincible fighting intentions of the 8 wilds. 8 Baron boxing. With Yi Chen's roar, the pinnacle of the punch hit out loud, opposing the thunder and lightning. Boom! The thunderbolt exploded on the spot. Puff! And Yi Chen's fist turned into blood mist in an instant, the whole body cracked on the spot, the golden flame of his body was extinguished, and he fell quickly from the void. At this point, nothingness became silent, without the lightning and thunder, without the power of extinction, the heavy dark clouds began to dissipate, and a hot sun had transmitted through the earth. Tianji is over. Chu Xuaner glanced up at the sky, and flew towards the place where Yi Chen fell like a rainbow. Soon she appeared on the edge of a large pit. In the pit, fainted Yi Chen lay there, scorching black, his skin was black, his flesh was broken, his body was broken, and without arms, the sensen bones exposed in many places were also dark. Yi Chen. Chu Xuaner appeared instantly beside Yi Chen, and then insanely poured spiritual power into Yi Chen's body, only to see Yi Chen still breathed, and then he was relieved. This place shouldn't stay here for a long time. Chu Xuaner rolled up Yi Chen, and ascended to the sky in one step, like a Shenhong, flew towards Hengyuzong quickly. Chapter 155. Surprised Chu Linger. This monster forest is already in a mess, the ground is black and full of pits, the towering ancient trees are horizontal and vertical, and they are all smoky. The broken stones are all over the ground, as if they have experienced a world war. General. Soon, there was a strong man who came to Zhaihong to control Shenhong. It was an old man. Seeing his Taoist robe, he was a Zhengyang sect. Who did it? The old man glanced at the crippled jungle, and there was a gleam of light in the muddy old eyes. Then, another middle-aged beautiful woman in a robe appeared here. People from Qingyunzong also come here for fun. The old man of Zhengyangzong glanced at the middle-aged beautiful woman. It happened to be passing by. The middle-aged beautiful woman smiled with an enchanting smile, and said, Wang Daoyu, you know who is crossing the street. I haven't seen anyone who crosses the robbery, maybe they have already died under the sky robbery. That Wang Daoyu thinks, who is crossing the road. The middle-aged beautiful woman looked at the old man of Zhengyangzong. Although he was not salty, she still wanted some useful information from his mouth. The old man of Zhengyangzong gently scratched his beard and groaned for a while, but shook his head gently. Will it be Heng Yizong's person? The middle-aged beautiful woman's words were quite profound. Heng Yizong. The old man of Zhengyangzong smiled disapprovingly. Heng Yizong can have such a talented person. Do you really think that everyone is like a mysterious body? Hearing the mysterious body, the middle-aged woman frowned slightly. Wait a minute, after 10 days, my masculine body of Zhengyangzong will surely make you wait for an eye-opener. The old man of Zhengyangzong laughed mischievously, turned away and drove Cheng Hong to leave. Looking at the old man of Zhengyangzong, the middle-aged beautiful woman flashed a cold light in her eyes, but she turned and disappeared. After the two of them, several waves came to this dreadful jungle, either as a strong man or a strong man who cultivated the family. For the people who roamed, there were many opinions and many conversations, but it was fruitless. Dispersed separately. Here, Chu Shuiner has flown into Yunvi Peak at the fastest speed. Well, sister, you're back. Seeing Chu Shuiner's return, Chu Linger jumped out, like a girl who is not ignorant of the world. However, when she saw Yi Chen brought by Chu Shuiner, her eyebrows frowned. This is what happened. Go to Yulingqi. Chu Shuiner flew towards Yulingqi, and Chu Linger hurriedly followed. Putting Yi Chen into the jade Lingqi, Chu Shuiner hurriedly brushed the storage bag, and put several kinds of maggots and spirits containing the magnificent spirit element into the jade Lingqi. What happened? How did he become like this? Chu Linger glanced at Yi Chen in the pond, and looked at Chu Zonner in wonder. You encountered a strong man. Chu Shuiner shook his head lightly, and said, while pulling the aura, this kid brought in a gangster after he advanced into the Yuan dynasty. Heavenly. Chu Linger heard Chu Shuiner's answer beside the Yulingqi, with an expression of disbelief. Sister, please tell me a joke. How could his advanced people lead to the ***** of heaven? The talent is as high as the brother in charge, has never caused a calamity. Are you sure that it was a calamity he brought? Quote. Do you look like I'm joking? Chu Shuiner kept pulling Reiki. How is this possible? Chu Linger subconsciously looked at Yi Chen, who was unconscious in the pool. Yuko slightly opened, and for a while he couldn't speak, looking at Yi Chen's immature body. Indeed. It was indeed hacked out by thunder. Could not help but Chu Linger felt only an unreal vertigo. 100 years of spiritual practice, today's events did indeed subvert her perception. She hasn't seen people cross the robbery, but whoever crosses the robbery is not a man who has made a fortune and is talented against the sky. A young monk who has just advanced to the realm of the people has brought the world to her. It's unheard of, and there has never been such a precedent in Dachu's history. This boy, is talent so bad? Looking at Yi Chen in the pool, Chu Zonner murmured, it was shocking that could not be concealed in the beautiful eyes. On this side, Chu Shuiner had already stopped, and he breathed a sigh of relief. It's okay to return in time. The black and white Yechen in the pond has been washed away by the rippling water of the jade Lingqi, and after being trained by many elixir, his wounds are rapidly recovering. Linger, there is no need to tell this to outsiders. Withdrawing his eyes from Yi Chen, Chu Zonner looked at Chu Linger. Even brother can't say. Chu Linger asked tentatively. At least I can't say now. Chu Shuiner whispered, the less this thing is known, the better. Tian Chuden's incident has caused a lot of enthusiasm in Chu. The 2 spouses planted in my house in Hengyu are not complete. It is found out that in order to protect Yi Chen, we should be careful, and... Having said that, Chu Shuiner stopped for a moment and looked at Yi Chen again. And, he is still an alchemist. Alchemist. He is an alchemist. Chu Linger was startled again, looking at Chu Zonner, looking strange. Sister, I never heard you say it. At this point, Chu Shuiner could not help but rub his eyebrows, and his expression was a little strange. I also just knew that this kid was really fire. True fire. Obviously, Chu Linger was shocked again, and looked at Yi Chen in the pond again, and said suddenly, "Sister, you apprentice, it is too mysterious." "It's very mysterious." Chu Shuner shook his head helplessly, then turned away and disappeared. "I'm going to Lingdan Pavilion. You're here to guard him." After Chu Shuner left, Chu Linger squatted in Yulingqi's fat, her cheeks couldn't help moving forward. Ling Che's beautiful eyes blinked from time to time, looking up and down Yi Chen. This was the first time he had looked at Yi Chen so closely, so carefully, and soberly. This little monk who had captured her virginity had shocked her too much. Suddenly, Chu Linger's cheeks turned red, and she seemed to remember the night again. "For my sister's sake, I won't kill you first." Not afraid to see Yi Chen again, Chu Shuner stepped aside. In the pool, the wounds on Yi Chen's body were still quickly recovering. Moreover, the mystery of the wild refining body is running on its own, the sound of bone collision in the body is endless, and his arms that have been shattered by the thunder are growing silently. Such a terrifying resilience, such an overbearing refining secret surgery, once again led Chu Linger severely shocked. Soon, the water of the jade Lingqi fluctuated and was violently rippling. The spiritual elements contained in it pooled towards Yi Chen and were absorbed by Yi Chen's body. Then, there is a strong heaven and earth aura, with Yi Chen as the center, forming a huge vortex of aura, which is poured into Yi Chen's body through the pores of Yi Chen's body, refined by the fairy fire, and poured into Dantian. At the advanced level, he went to robbing. Yi Chen needed these to supplement his lack of energy. Exclamation mark. Zhengyang sect. On a pretty mountain peak, a white-skinned shadow stands on top of the mountain, veiled and bathed in the moonlight, like a fairy in the heavens, bright and immaculate. This person, if you look closely, isn't it Jining Shuang? Behind him, a female disciple in white climbed up from below. First, she gave a respectful respect to Jining Shuang, and then whispered, "Sister Ji, I have inquired. Heng Yizong has no disciple named Chen Yi." "No." Jining Shuang frowned slightly, her voice indifferent and beautiful, murmured, "Did he lie to me? My sister isn't worried. In the next 10 years, there will be 3 big comparisons. As she said, that person will definitely come." "Hope so." Chapter 156. Sky Thunder. Late at night, Yi Chen woke up from her deep sleep. Numerous healing and elixir tonics, coupled with his overbearing resilience, made his wounds disappear, and his arms broken by thunder also condensed out. With the long spit of muddy air, he slowly opened his eyes. Human Yuanjing. The joy of eyes filled him, and he couldn't help checking his body. He found that there were many big changes in his body. The first is the bones, exuding Cancan Jinwei, becoming extremely hard. As for the meridians, they have also become thicker and tougher. Even the flowing blood is stained with Jinwei, overflowing with overbearing power that makes him ecstatic. Of course, what surprised him the most was his Danhai. Advancing to the realm of human beings, his Danhai has been expanded more than 10 times. The gold in the Danhai is dazzling and full of vitality, like a golden ocean, full of vitality. And many more. Yi Chen froze, looking inside Danhai, eyes gazing at a group of unknown black objects. In the shining Jin Hai's Danhai, the group of unknown black objects looked dazzling. "It's stabbing. It's stabbing." When Yi Chen went to see, the black object still made a stabbing sound from time to time. Lightning. After all, Yi Chen saw what the black object was. Isn't that a black thunderbolt? Yi Chen was startled and looked at his fairy fire again. His fairy fire was lively, jumping up and down around the black thunderbolt, and the black thunderbolt was indifferent, just suspended there, motionless, as if saying to the fairy fire, "Go, I don't want to care about you." "Why is there a thunder and lightning in my body?" Yi Chen stared at the black thunder and lightning again. "Where did you come from?" However, the black thunderbolt remained indifferent, just hovering there silently. This is what happened. Yi Chen scratched his head, leaving such a thunderbolt in his body. He felt unnatural, and God knew that one day it would be in trouble in Danhai, then he could not stand it. "Is it the thunder that remained in my body when I crossed the sky?" Yi Chen felt the chin as soon as the light came. Thinking about this in his heart, he thought of it, established a connection with the black thunderbolt, and then summoned it. Soon, the thunder and lightning came out of Danhai and covered his palms. "It's stabbing. It's stabbing." With the thunder and lightning in hand, Yi Chen could clearly hear the tearing sound of thunder, and the thunder and lightning walked between his fingers, allowing him to clearly feel the terror power contained in the thunder and lightning. Thunder. This is the most overbearing one of many attributes. People in the same realm, the party with thunder to help, must be aggressive. Thinking to himself, Yi Chen drew a hard stone from the side of Yulingqi, and then suspended in the palm of his hand, and then thundered. Click. Suddenly, the fast and hard stone was crushed into powder by lightning on the spot. Yes, yes, Yi Chen shook his palm. Although Lei was dangerous, he felt an unusually intimate feeling from the thunder and lightning in his hand. Both heaven and earth breed, you and Shanwo should be a level existence. How do I feel like I found bomb? Xian Huo, Tian Lei, hee 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 hee. The outbreak of character. In a good mood, Yi Chen turned his hands around Tian Lei, and then stretched out a lazy waist. The terror forces overflowing in his body made him excited and gave him the confidence to confront Zhenniang. Suddenly he got up, he jumped out of the jade Lingqi and walked outside. But soon, he ran back again and again. Awake, the scent of wind came, and Chu Lingerlian walked slowly and came out slowly. Wake up, wake up. Yi Chen laughed more ugly than crying, looked at Bai Chu Linger, and felt that her whole body became unnatural. It feels like being chopped by thunder. Chu Linger sat on the stone chair aside and looked at Yi Chen with interest, but with only one glance, he hurriedly staggered Yi Chen's eyes. No, nothing. Speaking of Tianji, Yi Chen said cursingly, I almost chopped it for me. Talking about it, how strong Tianji is, since ancient times, only the advanced generations can have it. He is a little condensate, and only breaks through to the realm of human beings. He has a reason to believe, that my God, I want to kill him. You get cheap and sell well. Chu Linger glanced at Yi Chen angrily. I don't know how many people want to use Tianji to temper their flesh. They don't have that kind of qualification. Some people have exhausted their lives to the point that they have never attracted heaven. Rob, compared to them, don't you feel happy? Quote. That's right. Yi Chen scratched his head. Indeed, after experiencing the calamity, he received too many benefits. The physical body and soul were baptized under the calamity. The pain was a little painful, but it was a rare creation. Well, bring it. Here, Chu Linger has taken out 2 glowing bracelets from the storage bag. Yi Chen froze. Wasn't that bracelet just the Moon Shadow 7-star ring? He had forgotten that, when crossing the robbery, the Moon Shadow 7-star ring was chopped into powder, and Chu Linger's posture made him prepare another pair. Hurry up. Chu Linger threw the Moon Shadow 7-star ring directly, and did not forget to glance at Yi Chen during the period. But my sister said that during her absence, I will take you to practice, dare not be obedient, be careful I beat you. Quote. Yi Chen hurried forward and took the 7-star ring of the Moon Shadow. He was meek like a little sheep. He absolutely believed that Chu Linger looked slim and beautiful on the surface. In fact, his temper was not smaller than Chu Xuaner. He was a twin sisters are violent. Hum. As soon as the Moon Shadow 7-star ring was brought in, it buzzed and trembled. Immediately, the 7 stars above lit up 5 in succession. Is this kid a monster? In this scene, Chu Linger's jade mouth was slightly opened, and his eyes were full of astonishment. Is it just an advanced person's realm? Can I have the weight of 2,500 kilos? Chu Linger thought to himself. Aside, Yi Chen was also there. He vaguely remembered that before the advanced human realm, the Moon Shadow 7-star ring was only 2 stars bright. Now when he advanced to the human realm, he actually directly jumped to 5 stars. This was suppressed by 1,000 pounds of weight. It climbed directly to 2,500 kilograms. For a moment, he only felt heavy arms, his body strength was suppressed, and his back seemed to be carrying a 2,500-pound stone. Take a good rest tonight. From tomorrow on, I will take you to continue the devil training. Chu Linger said. Devil training, and also, Yi Chen chuckled in his heart, feeling that something was going to happen, and it fell into Chu Linger's hands, and she would peel off the skin if she died. Well, what about my master? Yi Chen asked tentatively. I won't tell you. Chu Linger almost vomited blood to Yi Chen. Chapter 157, Soul Steel. At night, Yi Chen stood in front of the small bamboo house, bathed in the moonlight, and enjoyed the majestic power brought by the advanced human realm. Beside him, Shi Zixuan stood there like a javelin. Although it was a tadpole, she was peerless and under the bright moonlight, but also absorbed the starlight silently, which was very strange. Cool. As Yi Chen laughed loudly, he turned his hands to take out the tentacles, and danced very close to Xiaojufang. I don't know when he stopped sweating hotly. He waved his hand to insert the Tianjian épée obliquely on the ground. Yi Chen twisted his neck and looked at the distant Ji Zixuan not far away, and laughed. Since I have upgraded you to a Xuanji, I haven't hit you yet. Quote. Speaking, Yi Chen thought of it and gave Zizan an attack command. Immediately, Xuan Zixuan moved, and the speed was extremely fast, like a ghost, and several of them were killed in front of Yi Chen in a moment. Waving his hand was a big seal. Bawangquan. Yi Chen did not retreat, he blended speed and force, mixed invincible warfare, and hit a punch. In the fight against Tianji, he realized the 8 swords from the true meaning of the 8 swords, and it was with these 8 swords that he broke the last thunderbolt of Tianjia, and described the boxing with force and domineering. It is perfect. Boom. The fists collided and a roar broke out, but Zizan did not move, but Yi Chen was shocked and kicked back. Very good. Yi Chen laughed, slammed again, and waved his hand again. Zizan's speed is not slow, and she has a steady posture to suppress Yi Chen. Her shot is even more severe. Boom. Rumble. The battle between the two men continued to escalate, the roar continued, and Zizan, who was also qualified to perform the mysterious method of mystery, was supported by a magical amulet. The mystery continued, and Yi Chen, who had been pressed once, could not lift his head. As for Yi Chen, although it fell into the wind, it was like a wild lion. The more and more fierce the battle, the blood that erupted from the body was burning like fire. You can beat Shi Yang and Yang Bin undefeated, you are really extraordinary. Yi Chen was amazed more than once during the war, and she really played against Zizan, only to discover the terror of this son-in-law. I don't know when the war stopped. On one side, Zizan stood there like a javelin, her clothes were a bit messy, and there were many scars on her body, but she was slowly recovering. As for the other party, Yi Chen had collapsed to the ground. In the one-night battle, Rao was the one who was in charge of Dan Hai and was so infuriating. He also exhausted the battle, was embarrassed, and was covered with blood all over his body. In the moonlight, he gradually fell asleep. The next day, before dawn, Chu Linger came. Seeing Yi Chen still sleeping, without saying a word, he walked away when he got up. Where are you taking me? Yi Chen was carried, yelling and whipping back and forth. Why so much nonsense? Chu Linger gave Yi Chen an unhappy look. Yi Chen simply closed his mouth, letting Chu Linger hold him like a little chicken, then flew into the clouds, and then came to the peak of Jade Girl, and walked into the Yuling cave where Chu Linger was closed. Put down again, it is a stone room. The stone room is small, with a size of about 50 feet, and there is nothing to decorate. Only the 2-foot-tall jade monument stands in the 4 directions of southeast and northwest. The jade monument is engraved with complicated runes, and there is a slightly larger one at the center. A little spirit. What is this place? Yi Chen looked around, and then looked at Chu Linger. Spirit chamber. Chu Linger responded casually, and then drew a circle about a foot in the center of the stone chamber. You, come in. Chu Linger glanced at Yi Chen. Although confused, Yi Chen obediently ran into the circle. This is a spiritual chamber dedicated to tempering the soul. Chu Linger began to introduce to Yi Chen, not forgetting to refer to the 4 jade monuments standing in 4 directions in the southeast and northwest. The 4 jade monuments are called souls. The monument, once the restraint is lifted, will automatically tremble. That trembling is an attack on the soul. Quote. It's really mysterious. Yi Chen touched his chin, secretly saying that there are a lot of strange things on this Jade Girl Peak. Next, I will lift the ban on the soul monument. Chu Linger said, pointing to the circle under Yi Chen's feet, and you must not go out of this circle. It's that simple. Hearing Yi Chen's tone so easily, Chu Linger raised her eyebrows slightly, and a charming smile moved on the corner of her mouth. Well, it's that simple. If you are ready, you can start now. Okay. Yi Chen stood still and took a deep breath. If it hurts, You can call it out as much as you like. Chu Linger said Yi Chen was wrong. Soon, Chu Linger closed the seal with one hand and whispered, "On." Suddenly, the four soul monuments trembled, and the runes above lit up. Hum. Immediately, the four soul stels trembled, and the trembling sounds were directed at the center of the stone chamber, more precisely, Yi Chen standing in the central circle. At this time, Chu Linger on the side was already consciously covering her ears. Wow! Soon, Yi Chen's screaming sound of pigs rang, and the tremors in the four directions from southeast to northwest went straight into his mind, making his mind hum for a while, as if torn. It feels awkward. Chu Linger, covering her ears, looked at Yi Chen with a smile and watched Yi Chen eat her ant, and she felt a little happy. Can I only bear this passively? Yi Chen squinted as he hugged his head. It's not just you. If you want, you can try to fight. Of course, you can only use sonic mystery. After hearing the words, Yi Chen worked hard to stand. The blood and blood gathered. The mad dragon's sky wrath and mystery was cast instantly, and he shouted at the soul monument in front of him. Roar. Soon, a violent dragon moan rang through the stone room. Hum. After being hit by the sound waves of the mad dragon's anger, the soul monument immediately trembled, but soon, the horrible sound waves bounced back by him and returned to Yi Chen intact. Puff. Being hit by his own mad dragon sky, Yi Chen's mind was roaring immediately, and a burst of blood spurted out. You pit me. Yi Chen could not help but curse, holding his head and screaming. I don't have that spare time. Chu Linger shrugged his shoulders, then turned and walked outside. You practice slowly, until you fall. The soul monument will stop automatically, and don't try to get out of that circle. Are you good looking? After Chu Linger left, Yi Chen knelt on the ground holding her head. Her ears, eyes, and nostrils were overflowing with blood. The soul monument is very weird. The trembling that strikes directly attacks the soul. It is simply an intangible existence. He has no control over Yi Chen but has no choice but to bear it passively. What? Endured to the extreme, Yi Chen yelled as she held her head up, feeling that her head was going to burst. Outside the stone room, Chu Linger simply found a comfortable place to trim his nails leisurely, and sometimes he looked sideways into the stone room, and sometimes his eyes were surprised, and he muttered to himself, "Half an hour, this kid's soul-bearing capacity is far more than I expected." Quote. Soon, Chu Shuner returned and glanced at Yi Chen in the stone room, and then he focused on Chu Linger. How long has he been in? Chapter 158, Tease People. Half an hour. Chu Linger estimated the time, and then looked at Chu Zonner doubtfully. I said, are you too harsh on this boy? Now let him accept the intensity of soul training. If something goes wrong, something will happen. If it hurts the soul, it's not a joke. Quote. It's okay, he can carry it. Chu Shuner whispered a smile. Although it has not been long since she was a master Yi Chen, Chu Shuner knows Yi Chen's willpower too much. From the outside door to this time, Yi Chen shocked her so much that she was full of this apprentice confidence. You are so anxious to train him. Are you going to let him fight against the mysterious body of Zheng Yangzong? On the side, Chu Linger blinked beautiful eyes and looked at Chu Shuner. Chu Shuner shook his head slightly and smiled. Although he created too many impossible, compared with the body of the mysterious spirit, the strength is not a level at all. Even if he is repaired in the true sun, because I can't fight the mysterious body, I still know this. Quote. Then why are you so anxious? Chu Linger said, cultivation. It is not good to take the merits of rushing. I suggest that you combine work and rest. If you train like this, you will have trouble sooner or later. I want to let him combine work and rest. Chu Shuner rubbed his eyebrows helplessly. The brother in charge is pressing hard. The thing has been violent recently. Since Yi Chen is a candidate, he is likely to be the next one. The host, my master, can do is to improve his strength as much as possible in the shortest time. The stronger he is, the greater the chance of success. Quote. Then when are you going to tell Yi Chen about this? Wait, Chu Shuner sighed. I will tell him personally after the 3 big contests. I don't know if this kid knows if he will run away. Chu Linger whispered. It's a man, Chu Shuner said. Then he stood up and went into the stone room. In the stone room, Yi Chen had passed out under the soul attack of the soul steel, and collapsed in the circle. His face was pale and Chichao bleeding. Even if he was fainted, his face still had pain. Chu Xuan'er has taken out a sealed bottle of spiritual fluid and penetrated into Yi Chen's body to help Yi Chen nourish the weak soul. Let me come. Soul matters, I am better than you. Chu Linger came forward, and the jade hand had been placed on the heart of Yi Chen's eyebrows, and then white halo into Yi Chen's body. Seeing this, Chu Xuan'er just stood silently. Linger, your soul has been cultivated in the heaven for 10 years, can't you gather the Yuanshan? Upon hearing this, Chu Linger shook his head helplessly. Yuan Shen Zon Ji, although I touched that barrier several times, but I could not break through it. I felt that there was a force suppressing my soul, maybe it lacks some ineffable power. Quote, your soul is cultivated higher than the head brother. If you can't transform your soul into a primitive god, others are even more impossible. You said that, it's the man. After 2 hours, Yi Chen rubbed his temple and got up. In his eyes, he saw Chu Xuan'er and Chu Linger sitting in front of them. They were both leisurely, each trimming their own nails. Yi Chen's eyes turned left and right, looking at this, choking that, I couldn't tell which one was Chu Xuan'er and which one was Chu Linger, because they looked exactly the same, both wore white shirts, the same buns, hair buns, the same looks, the same smile and a smile. Originally, what he could tell by his breath was only Chu Xuan'er and Chu Linger. They simply concealed his breath, and Rao couldn't tell for a while. Awake, seeing Yi Chen woke up, Chu Xuan'er stood up and looked at Yi Chen's tangled gaze. Chu Xuan'er pouted and smiled, secretly saying that he must not be able to tell who they are. Already. Master. Yi Chen looked at Chu Xuan'er tentatively. Who's calling Master? Master is here. Chu Linger stood up and said, not forgetting to blink at Chu Xuan'er. Chu Xuan'er just pouted and smiled, but she didn't say anything. Her younger sister knew her best. She was almost 100 years old, but she still seemed to be a quirky little ***** weekdays. It turns out that Chu Xuan'er's cooperation let Chu Linger successfully cheat Yi Chen. Aha! Yi Chen grinned and stood consciously to Chu Linger, but left Chu Xuan'er aside. Chu Xuan'er could not help but rub his eyebrows. I wonder if it should be laughed or angry. I have taken you to practice for so long that you can't even recognize it. If she wasn't afraid to help, she would be fattened out by Yi Chen's hang. That, Linger, if you're okay, let's go. Chu Linger put on a big sister fan and blinked at Chu Xuan'er again. Xing xing xing. Chu Xuan'er looked angry and turned to walk outside. Before leaving, he glared at Yi Chen fiercely. The look in his beautiful eyes was clearly saying, pack up sooner or later. Yi Chengen laughed, and Chu Xuan'er stared at him. You seem to be very scared of my sister. Chu Linger looked at Yi Chen with a smile and groan. She was getting more and more into the play. She was quite fulfilled when she saw Yi Chen being in the drum and she didn't know it. What? Yi Chengen coughed. Then how do you feel about my sister? Chu Xuan'er still looked at Yi Chen with a smile. Very white. Yi Chen didn't even think about it, and the two words burst out. Hearing that, Chu Linger flashed a red glow on his cheek. Very white. Are you talking about that night? My body is polished by you, the perfect body is really white. You, stand in that circle, hurry up. Not only was he ashamed or angry, Chu Linger pointed angrily at the circle in the center of Shishi, and in his beautiful eyes he could see the sparks beating. Seeing this, Yi Chen was a little confused. I don't know where I got my master. Just now, the women are so fickle. Hurry up. Seeing Yi Chen faint, Chu Linger simply lifted the jade legs, kicked Yi Chen into the circle with one foot, and then quickly swiped the handprint with one hand. I will make you white. Immediately, the ban on the 4 soul monuments in the southeast, northwest, and northwest was released instantly. Soon, the soul monument began to tremble again. Wow! Yi Chen's muffled voice sounded immediately, and before he stood still, the trembling sound for the soul came from all directions, and the dizziness and tingling in his head made him burst and almost fall. Enjoy it, Chu Linger said resentfully, and then walked out of the stone room in desperation. Outside the stone room, Chu Xuan'er held her arms in front of her chest. She looked at Chu Linger with an interest and smiled. Linger, very white. As Chu Xuan'er said, Chu Linger's blush on the cheek added a touch. He'll leave it to you. I'll go to Lingtang Pavilion. Chu Xuan'er touched Chu Linger's fair and tender little face, and then couldn't help laughing again, then turned and stepped into the void. Really, it's pretty white. Quote. Chapter 159. Words. What? Behind him. Chu Linger stomped her feet and couldn't help covering her hot cheeks. After an hour, Yi Chen passed out in a circle like a dead pig again. When Chu Linger walked in, he gave Yi Chen a stern glance, and then he gave Yi Chen a fingertips. The white halo melted into Yi Chen's mind and helped Yi Chen soothe the tired soul. Soon, Yi Chen woke up. What? Immediately, the scream resounded through the stone room again, and Yi Chen, who had just woke up, was thrown into that circle by Chu Linger again. So, 3 days passed quietly. During the 3 days, Yi Chen had never been out of the stone chamber. Except for the fainting state, he was basically under the attack of the soul monument. However, after suffering so much, Yi Chen was not without gain. He was continuously attacked by the steel of souls. His soul was constantly being tempered all the time. In the past 3 days, his soul had been greatly improved. It was another moonlit night, and Yi Chen, who had fainted in the stone room, woke up again. You are awake. Before Yiru, Chu Linger appeared in front of Yi Chen the moment he awoke. How long do I have to stay here? Yi Chen shook his head and looked at Chu Linger. These days have really tortured him, especially the craving of his skull, which makes people feel heartbroken. Aren't you happy? Chu Linger gave Yi Chen a nasty look, and, as soon as she was trained, she immediately became a slang. Don't you know that tempering your soul here will do more with less? How many disciples want to practice in this stone room? There is no chance. Do and know how to be in the blessing. Besides, it's not all for you to exercise your soul strength day and night. You should also feel it. At the same time that you have been attacked by the soul tablet, haven't your soul strength also strengthened? Quote. Besides, as an alchemist, you should know the importance of soul power. Don't sell cheap and be good. Chu Linger said one after another. Yi Chen scolded and couldn't look up. Moreover, speaking of the alchemist, she could not help but glance at Yi Chen. I have never asked. As an alchemist, you can now make a few grains of magic. Hearing that, Yi Chen touched the tip of his nose and erected 2 fingers. So far, I've barely made an elixir. Look, let me say it. Chu Linger shrugged. The soul power is repaired, and you can only make 2 lines of elixir. If you want to make 3 lines of elixir further, you need to. Soul power reaches mysterious level. Quote. Although she said so, Chu Linger was surprised. You know, before Yi Chen was condensed, the level of soul power was higher than her own level, and she wouldn't say that she could make Erwin Lingdon in just 2 months. Such a result, she asked herself Shu Fu of the year could not do it. Master, when do you think my soul will be able to advance to Zan rank? Yi Chen looked at Chu Linger tentatively. You're asking the right person. Speaking of the soul, Chu Linger became a little excited. She sat on the ground like Yi Chen, cleared her throat, and said, generally. The soul of our monk, basically, they are in line with their own state of cultivation. Just like the monks in the Ningqi state, most of the soul levels are human. Of course, your kid is a stranger. Quote. Yi Chen listened calmly, and Chu Linger said more and more, the soul is mysterious, so the advancement of the soul will be more difficult than the cultivation of itself. But in fact, this is not the case. Most of the Ningqi monks have remained at the human level after they have reached the human level. Quote. Nature, monks in the same realm, if their soul level is not at the same level, then their strength cannot be compared. People with higher soul level will be much stronger. This point, you should be deeply touched, because the higher the soul level, the closer they are to heaven and earth. Quote. The closer you are to the heavens and the earth, what does this sentence mean? Yi Chen looked at Chu Linger with a puzzled expression. Have you heard of Yuan Shen? Of course I heard it. Yi Chen nodded. Elder Shu Fu once said that the Yuanshan is 1 level higher than the soul, and only the monks in the heavens are qualified to condense. It's a drop. Chu Linger said, the soul is very mysterious. The Yuanshan must be more mysterious. The Yuanshan is a level higher than the soul, then it will naturally be much stronger than the soul, and the most overbearing point is that once you put when the soul transforms into a primitive god, you can move the power of heaven and earth, so alas. Let you hone your soul, on the one hand, because you are an alchemist, on the other hand, the level of soul power is high, and the distance from heaven and earth will naturally closer. Although it is difficult to stir the power of the heavens and the earth, there are also many benefits. Quote, but when it comes to the power of heaven and earth, Schulinger was even more excited and straightened his legs. He said, the so-called power of heaven and earth, as the name implies, is a mysterious and powerful force between heaven and earth. It is like a sea of vastness, like a starry sky, like Juyu is majestic. Once he moves, pushes the mountains and lifts the sea, and the stars and the moon make up the moon. That is the true supernatural power. Quote, is it so evil? Despite the shock, Yi Chen still looked at Schulinger with unbelief. As you said, if you gather the gods and move the power of heaven and earth, are you invincible? Kiki, I only heard Schulinger's cough. It's also, not too exaggerated, condensing the Yuan Shen, although it can move the power of heaven and earth. As for how much power of heaven and earth can be moved, it depends on the personal fortune. That did not condense the Yuan-shen. Is it possible to move the power of heaven and earth? Yi Chen looked at Schulinger tentatively. Yes, Schulinger answered affirmatively. 1,000 worlds, there are all kinds of strangeness, that is, those people with strange bloodlines have innate affinity with the heavens and the earth. Although they do not condense the Yuan-shen, they can be more or less. The power of moving the heavens and the earth, for example, the Zonling body belongs to this kind of person. Quote, Zonling's body can move the power of heaven and earth. The news surprised Yi Chen somewhat. Well, Schulinger nodded. Xuanling's body is the blood of anti-sky that is difficult to see for 1,000 years. Once awakened, it can move the power of heaven and earth. This is also an important reason why Xuanling's body is so powerful. The undefeated legend has a lot to do with the power of heaven and earth. Quote, no wonder. Yi Chen felt his chin sinking into a groan. Did you feel the pressure? Schulinger looked at Yi Chen with interest. Stress. What kind of pressure? Yi Chen looked at Schulinger suddenly. Zonling's body, born with her in an era, you have no pressure. Schulinger could not help but shrug. Yi Chen understood. The body of the mysterious spirit, against the blood of the sky, has an undefeated legend since ancient times. Coexisting with the body of the mysterious spirit for an era, no matter how high the talent, is also destined to be only a foil. This pressure is like a mountain. Jining Shuang. Suddenly, Yi Chen thought of this person whom she did not want to remember, she who was high above him. He was doomed to be pressured in this life and couldn't lift his head. So hey, try hard. Schulinger said, you are an alchemist, such a noble profession, you are a treasure everywhere. I feel the same. Yi Chen, still worried at the last moment, grinned like a flower at this moment. When it comes to alchemists, I have one of your dream alchemists here. Here, Schulinger smiled mysteriously. When he heard this, Yi Chen's eyes lit up instantly. Master, what a treasure. Chapter 160, Hug. Dan Fang, do you have a miracle? Yi Chen's eyes became brighter, and she rubbed her hands and looked at Schulinger with a smile. What Danfang is a fangfang with a few grains of dandelion, give me a shit. Quote, Danfang of Sanwen Lingdan. Schulinger blinked, but did not mean to take it out, but looked at Yi Chen with interest. San Wen. Yi Chen's breath suddenly became sharp. Danfang is precious, not to mention Sanfang Lingdan's Danfang. This is not a treasure that can be bought with money. Although Yi Chen is a master of alchemy, let alone refining Sanwen Lingdan. Never seen it before. Don't think about me, Dan. While Yi Chen was excited, Schulinger said as cold water as possible, pouring Yi Chen's whole body up. Why? Yi Chen was almost choked by Schulinger's words, and internal injuries were caused by you. You didn't show me what you were showing. He never had such an impulse, that is, he wanted to die. He is a baby master. I'm useless to show you now. Schulinger spread his hand. That's Danfang of Sanwen Lingdan. Even if I show it to you, you can't make it. You want to make Sanwen Lingdan. The soul level needs to reach the metaphysical level, you know. All you have to do is to work hard to improve your soul level, and when your soul reaches the metaphysical level, I will naturally show you that I am a master. As soon as this word came out, Yi Chen's forehead suddenly came out with several black lines. Be good, practice well and be a good disciple. Here, Chu Linger has consciously pushed Yi Chen aside and pushed Yi Chen into the circle at the center again. Soon, the 4 soul monuments trembled in succession, followed by a humming trembling sound, and the sound waves rippled in the air. Well, Yi Chen gritted his teeth. Although his head was painful, he did not scream. Hum, hum. The soul monument still trembled, showing no mercy, and the shock was more severe than ever. In the central circle of Yi Chen, his body was shaken and stunned, and Chi Chao bleed, which blurred his vision and consciousness. However, bitterness is not for nothing. Under the attack of the soul monument, Yi Chen's soul sublimated in the subtle influence. He thought his soul was like a rough sword blank, and the attack of the soul monument, like a hammer, was slowly his soul smashed into a sharp killing sword. Moreover, several times when he was attacked by the soul tablet, he faintly captured a strange feeling, as if he could reach out to touch a barrier. He knew that if he wanted to advance the soul to the mystery, he had to break through that barrier. Perhaps it was the excitement of Chu Linger. This time, he persisted for more than an hour without falling down. It persisted for a long time without falling down. On the side, Chu Linger, who was manicuring his nails leisurely, glanced at the rickety but not falling Yi Chen, and there was much surprise in the beautiful eyes. No wonder my sister said that his vitality and willpower were very tenacious. Chu Linger muttered to himself. It's really a surprise to me that I am so young and so ambitious. Maybe he can really surpass me. Puff. In the voice of Chu Linger, Yi Chen spit out blood, and then his entire body collapsed to the ground. Here, Chu Linger got up in a hurry, and came to Yi Chen's side step by step, and then pointed at Yi Chen's eyebrow, and the white halo was imprinted on Yi Chen's mind to help Yi Chen soothe the pain. After half an hour, Yi Chen sat up rubbing her brows. Boy, I didn't persist for so long in the Yuan dynasty, you refreshed my record. Chu Linger whispered. It goes without saying that you also suffered a lot in that year. Yi Chen continued to rub her brows, which persisted for more than a few hours. Although her mind burst during the period, she is now extremely comfortable. How do you say that? In a sense, we are a class of people. A class of people. Yi Chen looked at Chu Linger in doubt. What do you mean? Here, Chu Linger looked at Yi Chen's doubtful gaze and shrugged. We are the same kind of people. Because our soul levels are higher than our own cultivation. After hearing this from Chu Linger, Yi Chen was a little surprised. Your soul is higher than your own level. That must be. Chu Linger smiled. You're an empty realm, right? Yi Chen tentatively looked at Chu Linger. Yes, that means that your soul level is heavenly level. Yes, that being said, you only have one step to consolidate the Yuanshan. Yes, Master, don't you ever say that, I don't even know you're so arrogant. Yi Chen's eyes stared roundly. Is there an urge to hug my thighs? Chu Linger stared at Yi Chen with big eyes. Hug, I have to hug. Don't even say it. Yi Chen really rushed up and hugged Chu Linger's thigh, the big face full of nosebleeds, still in Chu Linger's legs go up and down. You, what are you doing? Chu Linger was embraced by Yi Chen, her body was agitated, and whenever she came into contact with Yi Chen's body, she could not help thinking about the night, and her body was like an electric shock. In general, the cheeks cannot help but also appear red. Open. Well, really fragrant. Yi Chen smiled a little wretchedly, and hugged without face or skin. You. Chu Linger's cheeks were redder, and she hurried to push. The future god, hold it for a while, then hold it for a while. Yi Chen hugged it tightly. What? Chu Linger could not help screaming. What's wrong? The sound of footsteps outside the stone room sounded with surprise. Soon, the fragrant wind came in. Chu Shuner came in from the outside, but when she saw the scene on the ground that I don't know how to describe, she suddenly stunned there. You are. Sister, this kid is crazy. In a hurry, Chu Linger cast a helpless look at Chu's honor. Sister, the speaker really didn't want the listener to be interested. He was still holding Chu Linger's thigh blindly and haphazardly, and released Chu Linger like an electric shock. Are you a sister? Yi Chen's eyes stared at Chu Linger, his face suddenly became extremely wonderful. What do you think? Chu Linger's chest was bullied fiercely, staring at Yi Chen fiercely, his cheeks crimson. I wonder if it was ashamed or angry. Hearing this, Yi Chen twitched sharply at the corners of his mouth, and could not help looking at Chu Xuan'er. Chu's honor was like nothing, but shrugged helplessly. This time, Yi Chen's face became more exciting. What kind of trouble is this? Should the routine be so deep, you two will have a lot. Is it fun to tease me so much? Suddenly, Yi Chen only felt chilly all over his body. It was not the master Chu's honor who had been with him for the past few days, but his sister Chu Linger. It was so scary to think about it. At this moment, Yi Chen was swallowing more than once. I am afraid that in the past few days, Chu Linger has moved his thoughts to choke him more than once. Can you tell me what happened? Chu Xuan'er held her arms on her chest and looked at her sister Chu Linger with interest. He hugs my thigh, Chu Xuan'er said. Chu Linger's cheeks were even redder, and he still gave Yi Chen a serious look. Oh, upon hearing this, Chu Xuan'er raised her eyebrows and looked at Yi Chen with a smile. Yeah, she asked me to hold it. Yi Chen coughed. I'll let you hug you. Chu Ling was so angry that she did say that, but it was just a joke. Whoever thought of Yi Chen, the lawless kid, actually rushed up. Then I thought you were my master. Yi Chengen coughed and shook his head, a dead pig not afraid of boiling water. This is a big truth. He always thought that the teacher who taught him was Chu's honor. Who knew it would be Chu Linger? If he knew it was Chu Linger, even if he lent him a basket, he would not dare to hold her thighs. Seeing Yi Chen's expression, Chu Linger simply looked at Chu Xuan'er. Sister, I want to strangle him. Free. Chu Xuan'er shrugged. Bye. Upon hearing Chu Xuan'er's words, Yi Chen blew a throat, and immediately got up, and was about to run away, but it was Chu Linger who was rushed to take it back, and she was sturdy, and directly took Yi Chenu on the ground. What? Soon, the screams of Yi Chen's crying wolf howled in the stone room.